of it.
By Lehens. What an absurd start to this series, and here we are on to Summoner's Rift for game one.
I mean, this is going to be so exciting. I will say there is an enormous amount of CC here on the Gen G side to get lockdown for Ruler's ultimates, right? Everyone else on the team here has roots, has CC to try to get that ideal ulti, and Damwon looking for something a little bit sneaky here.
And also with the relative lack of range of both these compositions, he doesn't know.
Canyon.
I think he's just going to start enemy wolves. He's actually looking just for a level 1 start, because based on the mini-map, no one else is actually moving over here to assist him, right? You know, we got Gragas chilling up top. We have these guys showing. They're trying to not give this away. So I think it is just going to be a wolf start for Canyon.
Look at the pathing ping as well.
Oh, Peanut might spot it, unless he's going bot side.
He's going bot side. He's going to start probably Raptors.
Oh my god, they don't know!
I mean, I think this is a really great read, because Maokai a lot of the time will actually do these Raptor starts. That is my guess, is that he's saying, okay, you're playing Maokai. If you're going to start Leashless, it's likely on Raptors. I'm going to do Wolves, and I'm going to power farm your top side without you even having any idea. This was risky, but he sneaks in, and Secret Agent Canyon here going to be stealing away multiple camps and already accelerating the pace of the game.
And this is so reminiscent of every time that Damwon have found the upper hand against Gen G. It's been moments like this, but Peanut might be suspecting something is up.
But he can even scrap him here. This is even better. If he actually takes a scrap here and actually gets towards that form even faster.
He doesn't know!
He doesn't. Oh my goodness, Peanut, he's noticed that his Gronk's missing. As now he's going to come on over. There's the smite from Canyon. Now he's looking for even more, down to 200. But Canyon, if he just takes away the entire top side of the jungle, he's still pretty happy. But still, he's going to give it up, not going to push too far.
Look at the prio, though. Yeah, he's got to back off.
But this is perfect. He already took 2 camps away, right? Now he can just go Raptors. He can even go Raptors down to his bot side if he's worried about a counter evade. But, like, he can even do Raptors red. He can go anywhere on the map from that. He's already taken 2 camps away from the enemy jungle. He's gotten a little way towards his transform. This is a brilliant level 1 here from Canyon.
It also refers to what you were saying earlier with Canyon. You want to try, especially, I think, into the Renex and into the Maokai, fight with them early on, get as many orbs as you can, and rush towards that form. Overall, though, when we look at the rest of the map, and I think the reason why Canyon couldn't really continue to keep going is that, as I think expected, both of his solo lanes did get pushed out.
Yeah, absolutely. Doran was even cheating down, you know, threatening that he could move down, so you wouldn't want to stay around and actually fight to the death or anything. But as we can see, Canyon very far ahead in the farm here already. Going to be a very quick level 4. And he is going to be looking for Red Cane, almost guaranteed. He's playing Conqueror, so he is going to be trying to scrap with that Maokai at every single opportunity. He's going to be trying to meet him at Scuttles and really look for it, but Doran is being contested here heavily. They don't want to let him push it in. Doran is very low.
The slow is going to come through. There's the body slam flash. Noguri going to give it to Canyon, but no! He just walks it up and they're punished.
Oh, Canyon didn't want to commit the flash there. He is punished for greeting it out. That was an easy flash W for a kill there. He thought he could get him on the flash with his W. Didn't quite have the range. Does miss out on what should have been a guaranteed first blood, I feel.
But remember, everyone, now that we've got a slight lull in the action, make sure to grab the exclusive Very Nasa's Much Wow emote from Prime Gaming by connecting your League of Legends account with your Prime account. I think we're lucky that we managed to get that in there, to be perfectly honest, because this game seems to have everything to talk about all the time.
What it also means is if Canyon not using his flash, although he's going to still be very far ahead, still get the Wolf Camp, at the very least, thanks to the prio that he has in mid and bot side, Peanut is able to stay remotely relevant. Picks up the blue buff, and it kind of alleviates the damage that Canyon was able to do, especially because if he does get the kill and get more orbs, it's a huge disaster for Peanut.
Absolutely, but the problem is he has the respawn timers, right? He's on back here towards the Gromp. He already took away the Wolves, and now Peanut knows. So the problem was he did the blue buff, but he was just waiting around because they didn't have information on where Canyon was. So if Canyon had actually based or ran straight down towards bot, Peanut could theoretically die here, right? So that is why he was waiting so long to go in. And Canyon is just being as efficient as possible. He's gotten multiple Wolves clears. He's on his second Raptors clear here already. And he's really going to be accelerating the farm and going to have an incredible early base. You know, he's got a good 1,200 gold in pocket. It is too bad he missed out on that first blood, but there's still opportunities to return up towards that top lane, especially once Noguri hits level 6. There's going to be such good gank assist.
Cool, and I'm looking at both teams here because in terms of setup around objectives, a single misstep, Canyon hasn't backchat. He's going back up top again.
All right, well, if in doubt, just do it again, guys. As no flash on this one. There's the Blade's reach, and Canyon realizes he can't turret dive.
He can't turret dive, but again, this is okay. He's just going there to farm towards his form. This may look like a silly gank, but you don't need to always kill them. This one, I would say, was an effective gank. The last one was a bit of an oopsie. This one, I'm going to give him as they just don't have the damage to actually finish him off. But every time you can have an efficient gank like this, you see he goes top, and then it's right back to his Krugs. And as long as Noguri stays safe here, you are just laughing.
You also see Peanut covering, right? Because I wouldn't be surprised if Doran is calling, hey, guys, I don't have the vision. Maybe he's coming over again. Not going to be the case. Peanut is going to get spotted. Canyon is on the back, and there's Chovy.
There's the flash twist in advance. He throws out the barrel to get rid of the rise, but there are so many problems. The body slam is pretty good, but still, it's going to be first blood, and it's delivered to Chovy.
And Chovy comes up big. We have not seen this rise. It's been a pick that, I think justifiably so, has fallen down the ladder. Nerfed time after time for its immense impact. But Chovy, a guy literally known for just being in lane, finds the first blood.
I mean, it's a great roam, alleviating the pressure there onto Doran. Getting this kill onto Chovy is going to mean great things for Gen G here early on. And then you can see they've already taken a good 800-900 gold lead here off of that one kill.
Yeah, Noguri also didn't have his teleport available, so it means that Doran is much further ahead, being able to deny waves. Farm behind the turret gets a really nice back here as Damwon looking to head towards that top side. Top crab is probably all they're going to be able to claim for now, as Rift Herald is going to be spawning in a minute. But let's check out this one more time as Chovy walking up the river. Kind of perfect timing here.
I mean, it's just a great roam, right? Flash twisted advance, that guarantees there's no way out. They know Noguri has no flash, so as long as they stay on top of him, there's no way out with the body slam. So that's really all Peanut's job is after that initial twisted advance. Just walk along with this Gragas, make sure he doesn't have a free way out.
And the one counterplay that Showmaker was able to find was just getting a plate. Has the Demolish proc, is able to get that, but that's never really going to amount to much, because if Gen G is able to again snowball with a composition with as much CC and upfront damage, I think it becomes very, very tough. Do want to say that because we haven't really talked that much about scaling yet. I think it's actually very interesting because obviously Yuumi is incredibly strong as Canyon goes in.
Yeah, Chovy is right here though. Blade's Reach comes through as Canyon put in the Rune Prison for a moment, and oh my, just walks on in there, Showmaker. He'll turn up, Doran's coming down, but they'll be able to get the first kill on him. Still fighting this out as Canyon's gonna have to flash. Doran comes on through, Noguri finds Chovy in the back line. Doran is just fighting against Showmaker though as it's fights on multiple fronts, and Doran's the one that's going to win this one. Chovy eventually having to flash as he's respecting Noguri, who just got his back.
And look at Canyon, just max efficiency right to the Herald, but this might be spotted. Noguri has to kind of play a little bit of distraction here. I don't know if they can finish this. He does have a smite available, but he's going to have to smite for health. This is going to be a bit awkward. Peanut's coming out of base.
Still has his ultimate though, uses the healing, goes into the wall.
Yeah, Doran going to come on over here, just trying to keep him busy for the moment. Body slam comes in, Canyon locks it down. The Nature's Grasp comes through though, and there's downward trespass. He's going to deny it, as now Doran getting himself out of there.
Flash.
Noguri at 100 health, and Peanut will secure the kill, just barely. They're able to lock him down. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, here it is. It's the final bullet into the back of Doctor, but he flashes away and keeps himself alive.
In game one here, absolute madness. They're scrapping it up across the map, and now Peanut on the invade.
And overall, I'd say for Canyon, that's a successful heist. Go in, get blue buff, and he gets away with the Rift Herald. But overall, it's still Gen G that gets the better trades.
Yeah, absolutely. Gen G, coming up with these kills, getting summoners off bot. They're looking for the dive here now.
Yep, Tidal Wave coming on through here as Kellen just burning down Ruler. Make It Rain comes on through, and now Chovy just wants to come through and grab himself some fish, and he does secure the
Showmaker's here.
Going to answer. Canyon is, of course, here as well. Shadow stepping through. The Blade's Reach comes down, and Chovy will be taken out. DWG KIA answer.
I present to you Gen G versus DWG KIA. These two teams are so evenly matched as across the map plays just continuously found by both of them. In the end, Gen G's ahead, but DWG is still able to find, I think, a lot of crucial kills to get themselves in it.
Yeah, and the biggest thing to me is I'm so curious how close Canyon is getting towards Transform, because there's been so much scrapping in this game To me, pre-transform, Kane is like half a champion, but when you transform, you're a champion and a half. Right? That power spike can be so massive. If he can find the correct fights, especially against these multiple melee scraps on the top side, it is going to be huge.
Yeah, certainly pretty clear that
there we go.
wants to be heading towards that top side as there's Gore Drinker completed.
And he transforms.
Oh, he's already through. There he is. All right,
there he is.
Gore Drinker. Nature's Grasp here towards the bottom side of the map, gentlemen, and Doctom is in so much trouble. He gets smashed back by the Brambles, and Peanut helps claim one for Ruler.
And this is what we talked about in terms of CC. There is so much lockdown on Gen G, and DWG is unable to deal with this. And now, we haven't really talked about bot lane that much, but this Yuumi MF bot lane is absolutely demolishing, because while Domo is getting wins on the top half of the map, bot lane is bleeding.
Absolutely. It's a massacre down there at this point. You know, you get those kills, you push them back multiple times here. Doctom earlier had to take a bad base. You know, Chovy comes down. Now they get another gank in there from Peanut. They're going to be able to take the first dragon. They've taken multiple plates, and it's plus 30 CS. Massive goal difference, but they are looking for Chovy.
Yep, there's the Frozen Tomb. Chovy's going to get knocked up. The Blades reach as well. Now has that added CC. Goes golden, but that is just going to buy a few seconds and not delay the inevitable enough, as now they're going to be able to hopefully take down this turret, but no teleport to come through. Can they actually get this off in time? Yes.
Yeah, the tower very tanky here on that last plate, and Doran's just going to pop ulti here to try to clear it out. Canyon, though, really, really strong. I mean, he got about a 10-30 transform and his Gore Drinker completed, so he just wants to fight constantly. His job now is find this Maokai, scrap, and just don't stop. Try to really limit Peanut's effectiveness here.
And as much flack as Doran, I think, justifiably so, is hold up.
Yeah, Doran might be in a bit of trouble here, and indeed he is. There's the Umbral Trespass to come out. He does manage to slice his way over, and Canyon going to be interrupted by Peanut. The Bramble Smash is fantastic, as well as now Chovy comes in, but it's a double knock-up. Kellen turns up. Oh, Nogari just securing it, and now another bubble to come through. A double kill for the Gragas.
The bot lane may not be going well, but Kellen's not bot anymore. Now they're going to try to dive
going. Yeah, here's the final chapter. The bullet time, the cleanse is good. Doctom will barely survive, but he's walking the wrong direction, gentlemen. Some Alcove Gaming may need to come in, and there's no safety here. There is a turret, so he's definitely going to die. There it is, double up secures it.
But look at mid lane, right? They're just non-stop pushing here, and Canyon again is just invading. He wants to scrap these melee champions the rest of the game.
Because with what has happened on top side, Gen G, who were 1.5k gold behind, ahead, are now behind DWG. DWG with the first turbo and the skirmishes that they found on top side that Gen G opted into actually have now swung back the gold lead.
You had a follow-up, I think.
I'm trying, but it's so hard to keep up with this game because everyone is fighting everywhere all of the time, and we can see the lopsidedness with Gen G pulling ahead so far in bot side, but then DWG with this Kane pick coming up huge.
Absolutely, and I think Canyon's playing it incredibly smart, right? He just has to maximize efficiency, and honestly, he doesn't really want to fight Ruler or Lehens until it's overwhelming amounts of power. He just wants to be tracking Peanut, scrapping against Peanut and Doran non-stop here with this Conqueror, red form Kane here, early Gore Drinker. He's just got to keep finding them. They knew that Doran had popped his ulti mid lane to actually try to clear out that wave, so they're going to immediately go back towards top and look to punish.
And just Doran dying here would have been okay. I think that you can come back from. It's unfortunate, but it happens. But instead what happens is they go in as the explosion from the cask, more than enough to set it up. And
that was sexy.
If that doesn't happen, for real, if that doesn't happen, DWG is probably still overall behind in gold.
Absolutely, but I don't think they thought Kellen would be up there still. Right, like he stayed up top for so long, the wave was crashing bot, so my assumption is Gen G's saying, all right, Kellen will be heading down towards bot to try to cover Doctom, and at worst we have a 3v3, and Chovy's coming out of base, Chovy's pretty strong, like we can fight. But when that extra man is there, the CC coming through from the Nami was massive because they're in that tight corridor, they both get caught by the Nami ult, they both get caught by Nami bubble.
And as much as I like the scaling of Yuumi, and as much of a blight has been on this tournament, MF, to me, has had one big problem, that she's unable to deal with very tanky front lines. And if we look across the board, for Gen G, there is an Everfrost Rise, there is Ruler who went for BT Rush, which is very high on the utility and the sustain, but in terms of damage, might not be enough. You're playing against a fat tank Gragas and a monstrously fed Red Kane that is what I assume will be building either a Black Cleaver or a Death Stance next. going to be so hard to chew through those health bars.
It will, but it looks like there may be another contest here. Gen.G is moving up, but Damwon is more established for this, so I think Gen.G will have to back up, give it up. There is a bit of an X factor in this one, though, and that really is the Realm Warp, right? Because I do think being able to Realm Warp Doran into that back line makes the fights very, very complicated for Damwon, right? Because if they're trying to send all of their kind of front line forward towards Ruler, and all of a sudden a very angry Crocodile shows up on top of Doc Dom's head, that becomes a difficult fight.
There is also the amount of lockdown that we keep going back to for Gen.G because a single misposition from anyone on Damwon spells big trouble.
Yeah, getting to 5v5s is exactly what Gen.G are trying to do this game. So far, Canyon has made sure that that is very, very difficult, as he's going to be splitting here towards the bottom side.
Level 11.
Yeah, he's absolutely... I mean, I feel like Noguri is actually kind of playing Jungle Gragas this game, and it's top lane Kayn, as Canyon's being given...
Gragas.
Yeah, River Gragas, and just any side lane with farm Kayn, as Canyon is ahead of him.
I think that they have a lot of experience playing with Kayn in these
Oh, this is absolutely normal.
Oh, yeah.
When he's on Graves, I feel like no one on the team is getting farm anymore.
I mean, what are his most famous picks? Like Graves, Nidalee, Karthus, like this fits the MO 100%.
And what I love, and what now that we have a little bit of downtime, want to highlight this Worlds, and this match is one of the best showcases that we've seen thus far, is the amount of creativity and freedom that are available in drafts. There are a couple of picks that are very clearly very far ahead of the curve, but overall, as hold up, might have some more fighting here.
Yeah, tidal wave to come through. They think they've caught Ruler. He's going to have to flash the bubble. Gets himself out of the way. Now, Canyon, towards that bottom side, does a lot of damage there to Doran as Noguri holding on to the cask. As Shirley takes down that outer turret, and DWG KIA starting to really get the momentum they're looking for. Peanut turns up, wanting to deny this second charge. Yeah, they should be able to do so.
Oh, they're TPing on it.
Wow, they are committing to this fight here as there it is. Not going to get the blades reach, but that's going to get some flashes. Nature's Grasp to make sure they get the charges. Showmaker will be exhausted immediately. The bubble's fantastic as the culling flies through, and Canyon locks down that first kill, but Chovy will answer, and he makes it a double. Realm Warp to deliver. Showmaker to be interrupted. Showmaker sacrifices himself, but gives over the triple.
That was way too far from Damwon. They really tried to hard force that, even TPing on the Herald to keep it alive for the second charge. But Gen.G are still in the area. Gen.G can answer, and Chovy picked up a triple there.
This Rise is not looking like the Rise that we've been saying is just out of the meta. Not really.
Yeah.
Like, if it's 5 kills, it's probably still going to be 5.
Yeah, he's 3k gold.
Yeah.
In his inventory right now.
That's a problem.
He
he's
got a
been on the map
shutdown
for a long time.
on Fed Kayn. And, you know, triple in general will get you a lot. And I agree with you, Zaylan. This is something that has plagued Damwon for the entire year. They used to be known as a team that got a lead and pushed it relentlessly, but sometimes they go too far.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to look at who they're actually diving, right? It's a Renekton with all that has a Yuumi strap and Peanut on the Maokai, right? If this was Ruler and Chovy under the tower and those are your initial targets, then yeah, you burst them down very, very quickly. But it's two essentially tanks at this point in the game. They can't actually get a quick kill. Yes, they do knock down the Renekton, but so many resources are put into actually knocking him down that Chovy and Ruler are completely unthreatened when they arrive.
That emotion explosion as Chovy picks up a triple kill.
Yeah, he was actually a little bit upset, and I'm not going to translate what he said there, because if you can lip read, you know exactly what was spoken. So, all right, having a look, the damage, I mean, this is, once again, this is a Canyon game. These are the types of games
They're going again.
DWG KIA win.
Round
They're
2.
now looking for it. Yeah, if at first you don't succeed, try again. They've been doing it all game long. As we'd like to remind you that, of course, this is our Mercedes featured matchup between Chovy and Showmaker. Already it's delivering as Doran, actually denied a bit of that CC by the bubble. He keeps himself alive, has some zoomies there as well, courtesy of Lehens.
But look at this, the bounce back and forth between the two lanes. You know, they go just from bot up towards mid. They already have it pushed here and starting to chip away at that tier 2. And it's a very clear plan here from Damwon. It is fight, fight, fight the whole game long. They want to scrap. They don't want Gen.G to be able to establish themselves in a 1-4 to get Rise out to the side lane. And they don't want them to have this kind of cushy front-to-back, slow-paced game. They really want to force their resources out non-stop.
Oh,
as a Showmaker, a little bit of an oopsie there, but he's fine. He got a Z. He's okay. Overall, Damwon also have drafted the perfect draft for this, right? You have extremely mobile and extremely bursty bot lane. You have the I'd argue one of the best CC champs in the game in Lissandra, and then the Kane and Greg, as we've already seen the impact of. To me, the big question will be, though, for Damwon, especially after that dive that they didn't find on bot side, is what is actually going to be the amount of Drakes that they're able to pick up? Because if you get into a late game scenario, as Chovy finds a really nice Realm Orb, and you don't have, I think, a Drake lead that forces Gen G to just walk into you, to maybe get caught inside, or to opt into a skirmish that they don't really want to go for in a straight up front to back, especially with Ruler, with a Yuumi on his back and the front line that he has, can still be a really big problem.
And I am kind of concerned about the fallback, right? You know, if Dokdom was having an incredible game here on the Lucian, then you can say, okay, the 4-man squad just keeps fighting, Dokdom keeps farming, and he's kind of your insurance policy. But it doesn't really feel like they have one in this game. Maybe Canyon will prove me wrong and he can just be that threat the whole game long, but I do have concerns that when you get to those really later stages, if you don't have that big secondary threat, Lahen's exhaust is always going to be on Canyon, and I just don't know if he's going to be enough.
Well, speaking of secondary threats, it looks like Chovy's going for tank rise here as well. I think it might be the Fimbulwinter instead.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, thank goodness. Okay.
You scared me for a little bit.
And I saw the Fimbulwinter picked up by Nuggery and put it back into my head, and I'm like, okay, thank goodness. Okay, Seraph's, it's fine. They're doing okay.
That build
I hope it's dead.
It needs to be
I hope it's dead, but
I don't...
There are some builds that have happened in the LCK that we sometimes question.
At times, yeah, we cling to them.
No, but here we are. It's all right. We're absolutely fine. Seraph's is it.
Well, if you want to scare a Damwon friend, compare the mid lane items here. That's going to be a problem, as Chovy is looking very strong.
Yes. 0, 2, and 4, not exactly the scoreline that Showmaker was looking for here, but he'll still have all of that utility, like you were talking about, Chronicler, in all of the CC that he does have, and it's Canyon. That's the real one here. Is that sidestep was beautiful. Okay. Bit of the K-Ram. Welcome, everyone. We are pretty used to this.
We're grabbing Cryo Atlas. It's okay.
Exactly.
It's allowed.
The Drake is also up, third one of the game. Earth, Wind, and Fire to start us off as well, which I absolutely love. Another knockup to come through, but Doran pretty tanky is okay. Peanut's going to dive forward. They're looking for Nuggery, but he's very tanky. Blade Reach once again landing onto Peanut this time as they get the Nature's Grasp out, and there's the final chapter. They think they've locked down the Gragas. He's super tanky, but he's still going to be taken down. Now Showmaker has to go into his ultimate. Doran's going to be taken here, and Gen G looking for more. Umbral Trespass to come forward. Peanut relatively low. Knock up is my goodness. Can he actually make it happen? The answer's no, as Chovy is taking matters into his own hands yet again. Another Realm Walk is going to come through, but they just walk away, and it looks like Gen G are looking for a Baron.
Yeah, they're going to go straight for it here. Showmaker really mispositioning in that fight, walked too far forward, lost almost all of his health to Ruler's ultimate, and they didn't have that secondary bit of damage, that follow-through that Canyon needed to really run over the fight. So it is Gen G coming up massive in the mid lane and grabbing a Baron, taking full control of this game.
And Ruler also able to channel what I think was almost a full bullet time. Generally, against the Damwon comp, that should be very hard to do, but they're able to get it, and all that Damwon is getting as a trade is not even a soul point, it's just a single Infernal Drake, and initially this fight looks very underwhelming because a lot of tankiness, a lot of health bars, but as you pointed out, Azil, it's when the ultimate from Peanut comes down, and they go in here on top of Nuggery with the ultimate, trouble arises for Dom.
And watch Showmaker. Showmaker just walking forward here. You know, I think just losing track of the EMF ultimate, lost about 90% of his health there. He actually started when the ultimate was being cast. He was out of it. Imagine if he's full health with his flash now. The follow-up there that could be there with Canyon. If Canyon had a flashing Lissandra coming in with that ultimate at this point, they run over the fight. It is Damwon's Baron, and it's that mispositioning, it's that misexecution that is all the difference in this fight.
And you also see Dokdom there. If he's not as far behind as he is, you win that fight, right? He has the burst necessary, he gets to take him down, but in these longer team fights, even in spring, when Gen G was not the best team in the LCK, this is where they excelled, and they're showing it again here.
Let's see whether they can continue it, because of course, Ruler is definitely one of those quantities that does turn up at around this time of the game. And he was given an early game to do whatever the heck he wanted. Of course, Canyon needing to get towards Red Cane as quickly as he can, as is actually doing some roaming here behind Gen G, looking for the flank. Here's the teleport to come forward. Final chapter, meanwhile, and this ultimate not quite as good, although Canyon does dive in front of it. Noguri now just getting autoed down by Ruler, and now he's out of position. Has to flash to get himself out, but it's another kill for Chovy. Showmaker once again extraordinarily low as the turret will be taken down. Bramble Smash is amazing. It's another triple kill for Chovy, and now Kellen is going to be locked down. Realm Warp to confirm it, and Gen G will destroy Damwon and possibly their base.
That might just be the game, right? DWG KIA again try to go for a Hail Mary fight, but the Yuumi is fully online. You call them the best Yuumi, and I've seen Lehans win games far harder than this one.
Well, they're pushing towards it now. Canyon is alive, but he might just be taken down. Goes Golden to try and buy as much time as he possibly can. Lehans gets out of turret range, and the Kane is now dead. There's the ace, once again confirmed for Gen G, and they will be taking game number 1 in this best-of-5 series. Unless someone can make something happen. Doran slicing, dicing, and that is going to be the end of the Nexus. That is your game 1, and if we have more of that, gentlemen, I think we're going to be happy with the series.
What a treat game number 1 was. We got the Kane, we got the MF Yuumi, we got Chovy with 11 kills on Rise here.
Decimated T1 with in the final. This is a whole lot of comfort for Gen G across the board, to be perfectly honest.
Even going back to yesterday's matches, we saw both Wei and Owner having incredible games with the Sejuani, especially compared or combined with very, very strong lanes. And overall, this Wukong to me really feels like a Hail Mary, whereas the Kane was a very strong, and I really liked it, counter pick in a specific situation. This Wukong kind of feels like we need something AD. Kindred doesn't feel that good. So like overall, where are you gonna go? Especially with the Graves being banned out every single time. And if this is the best that Damwon can do on blue side, you got to be a little bit worried.
I mean, to me, it feels like there's not really a lot of ganking options here besides maybe top lane. Like, that's the only place you really have much gank assist whatsoever. But Doran is not disrespecting, and it's not as though he's playing, you know, the Ignite TP Camille. He is playing Flash, and he's going to be able to have the answer as long as he's not hookshotting aggressively. And honestly, you have a winning bot lane and a winning mid lane, so there's no reason for Doran to do anything aggressive. He should just chill and farm up on the top side and wait for the victory screen, basically.
Yeah, or just wait for Peanut to turn up, because that gank combo is absolutely fantastic. Yes. So we'll see what is going to happen here as Chovy charging up the queue, as Yone's do. Joy heads on forward, and this is an opportunity, like in the very early game, for Showmaker to get some pressure as the double up here. A lot of fighting, Gen G and Damwon here. Probably not going to see too much action in the early stages, although that was a lot of damage.
That's a painful one, and I agree with you, Azale. The way that this bot lane went last time around was, I think, the biggest issue for DWG KIA, and the reason why they went so ham. Because obviously you want to scrap, you want to skirmish with the draft that they had, but at times it felt like they kind of went over the top. And you're going to be in a very similar position this time. I do want to highlight, though, that Lehans is going for the Guardian Yuumi here, so a lot more defensive power.
Yeah, absolutely. And perhaps the read on the Damwon side from their bot lane is, hey, it wasn't the matchup, we just misplayed.
We made a mistake.
And if they feel that they really made a mistake, maybe they can run it back and really showcase it to us here.
Quite like it, as Chovy and Showmaker laning up against one another. A little bit of a battle towards the top side, but just some casual biffo between the Metal Legs lady and the fat guy. Having a look here towards Chovy, down to about 50%, but might be baiting Showmaker in. Oh, this would be very, very dangerous. I think Showmaker knows. There's the Flash Arctic Assault, though! And the Winter's Wrath is going to be able to get that Permafrost. Showmaker, First Blood, the Unbound Soul gets Chovy back to the minion wave.
It's beautiful there. Chovy hits 3. As soon as he hits 3, Peanut has already arrived at a full topside clear. And with that E available, the Soul Unbound just gets in. And Peanut, with that Q Flash, interrupting the dash back there from Showmaker, gave it everything they needed.
Really cleanly executed. Canyon immediately trying to go for a counterplay, but
Chovy.
Yeah, Chovy's there.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get first room.
Gonna be able to get out, but not gonna get anything on the punish, because that might have been an angle to at least do a little bit in terms of getting gold back. Still gonna set up here for the blue buff.
Yeah, and I think it's his, because we see no smite on Peanut. He has smite, but we'll see if the bot lane is going to roam. You know, they are locked in there. Kellen was threatening the roam up, so Canyon will at least take away the blue buff, but of course, much greater spoils on the side of Gen G. You know, getting this counter matchup here for Chovy, getting the first blood, early Vamp Scepter is going to be very problematic here, and it's just a beautiful gank from Peanut. Q, flash, interrupts the dash. So now, even though the flash is going to be committed here from Showmaker, you just can't create enough space because the stun from the passive proc there is going to stack up immediately.
Even though he dodges the knockup from Chovy, it's still the amount of autos that you can get out with the Yone combined with the Sejuani, which is one of the reasons why we have seen Sejuani do so well as a jungler. There's so many strong melee, mid, and top laners at the moment in the current meta, and Sejuani enables her, them like no other.
Absolutely, and for this Azir versus Yone matchup, so much of it for Azir is about bullying in the early levels before the Yone can really get a foothold in lane. But the fact that you get an almost instant Vamp Scepter now means you're going to be able to shrug off so much of the poke. And every time Soul Unbound is available here for Chovy, he can go forward, he can take this trade, and it starts getting worse and worse and worse for Showmaker on the Azir because you have no sustain as the Azir. You go through your potions, and then every time you're taking one of these trades, he's going to heal back up afterwards with that Vamp Scepter, and you're going to be threatening that all in.
2-for-1 special on the bubble, but the Make It Rain comes through as well. The counter damage is fantastic as the flash comes through from Doctom. Ruler just standing his ground, does have to use the heal, but that is it.
And this is the power, as, it does get tagged, but there's no burst available of Yuumi. This is why this pick is so highly coveted. If you can win all-ins like that, what do you do?
Absolutely. It's incredibly difficult. And to me, that just shows the mastery of this bottom lane that Ruler and the Hens have. They understood that, yes, they are at lower health, but Doctom has spent all his spells there. There was no more damage remaining.
Canyon.
So cheeky. Canyon's going to cancel the back, but still being very, very patient. And Doctom's gone home. Well, Hens is going to face check. They're going to see whether they can burst him down. The bubble is just beautiful, and the cat is denied. That is the first kill. Damwon KIA on the board.
And that's pivotal because without that, Gen G just have another free card to snowball that bot lane, deny any opportunity from Damwon KIA, and Wukong, even though he has been nerfed repeatedly, do want to reiterate that if you are MF and your only tool that you have to stay away from is flash, it will be very, very hard for you to reliably create distance between you and Wukong. A pick that, for what feels like the better part of this entire year, was a top-tier backline dive pick.
I mean, it's a great kill for Canyon, but at the same time, it's not really going to help to equalize this 2v2 very much. You know, Doctom wasn't there. The kill went onto the Wukong. No summoners were spent on the Gen G side, so they're still going to be feeling strong in this 2v2. And Doran, anytime that passive is up on the Camille, you want to take these short, chippy trades. But the sustain on the side, Noguri!
Yeah, Noguri going for it here towards the top side. Doran wanting to answer back. Precision Protocol available, but doesn't want to fight against this Gragas, who's looking very aggressive.
Oh, do note, no help coming here for Doran, and we do see that Canyon is making his way up. Doesn't have ultimate quite yet, at the very least. Not really going to be able to pick up a plate. But what this does open up, with Doran being stuck underneath his turret, is the opportunity for Canyon to try and find a lead in the jungle 1v1.
But look at bot lane. Peanut down here. You know, they know he's not up on the red buff, so they may suspect something.
Yeah.
There is cleanse available for Doctom.
We're looking to be able to walk out of the Aqua Prison. Still, Peanut patient as well. It's exactly what Canyon was, but no, going to go in, not going to find the Arctic Assault as Kellen decides to continue walking back towards his turret. That's going to save his life. Now Ruler wanting to get that cannon and does manage to do so.
Canyon going to get a lot more on the top side though. The Scuttle spawn stop, he takes away the red buff, he takes away the Scuttle here. You can see trying to get some vision, you know, into the enemy jungle there. They want to keep Noguri safe in this matchup to be able to have push, to be able to chip away at Doran. You know, that is one of the lanes that we talked about him being able to attack, so they really want to make sure Noguri is feeling safe to do so.
And overall, even with the early Vamp Scepter that Chovy was able to pick up, we do see that in the early levels, Showmaker is able to generate a lot of pressure regardless. And I want to go back to this bot lane, because even with how much attention there has been, in terms of early game, it does feel a little bit like the read from Doctom and Kellen, at least for now, was correct in that we didn't see everything that happened in the early laning phase. I know that as early as level 3-4, they were already getting heavily shoved in by the Yuumi and the MF, never really able to recuperate at any point. And at the very least, this time around, they're able to mitigate. Is it enough against the Yuumi? I'm going to say not really, but at the very least, we do see that there is a little bit more pressure here on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it is looking a lot better for them. It is a gold advantage here for Damwon. You know, they're up 8 CS in the bot lane, not massive, but at the very least, you know, they're not down 20-30 as they had ended up in that last game. And we do know the power of the MF double up, right? And sometimes all it takes in these lanes for a lane to go bad is you get that pass-through Q on a minion, you get the kill, you get that bonus damage from that Q, and you lose a couple hundred health, and all of a sudden you can't threaten it all in. And things can become very, very difficult.
Yeah, then you get stuck in a bad back cycle, and then you're going to be behind on tempo, and it kind of snowballs from that, especially against Ruler and Lahens that throughout the entirety of summer have been the most punishing bot lane that we've had within the LCK by a very large margin.
Well, right now, it's going to be a 6 CS advantage for Dogdom. Should extend a little bit as Ruler and Lahens coming back from a back. Noguri tanking up turret shot here, feeling very happy on the Gragas. And honestly, if it's a top lane island, that is the happiest Noguri you're going to get. Because he just would prefer it to remain a 1v1, as he's always extended as far as he can go.
And I just love how much he's harassing him on these range minions, trying to just chip away at him, trying to deny as many CS as he can. You know, at the end of the day, the sustain that is on the Camille is much lower than that of the Gragas. So you want to constantly take these trades. But we can see both junglers hovering down here around this bottom side.
Rift Herald at the ready for Canyon, so can put a few plates into Dogdom if he would like to. Kellen just shadowing over to the side. Canyon thinking about whether he wants to go for a dive or whether they just want to grab the plates and secure this one. Prowling projectile comes through. Vision not available here as Ruler. Slightly aggressive, but does manage to land that double up. That is a lot onto Dogdom.
And I wonder whether the read from Domon is, as Canyon is spending so much time in this bot lane here, that they expected Peanut to be here immediately. Peanut now has gone through a back, now making his way back over and is ready here to defend the turret.
Yep, Rift Herald to come down. Peanut's going to turn up. There is the Glacial Prison. Kellen getting taken down very, very low, but does have the heal and is able to keep himself alive. There is the charge from Shelly as Gen G just back themselves away. They do manage to get the cleanse and the heal.
And in the end, much ado about nothing. Neither of these teams want to take the risk, and I think from Domon just getting the charge in is quite nice. Able to get even though it's a shared gold, give over gold towards that bot side of the map, as unsurprisingly, Chovy with the kill, currently leading in terms of gold on the map.
Yeah, and it's about a 600 gold advantage for Dogdom there. They're looking here for Chovy.
Yeah, Chovy's going to get thrown back as Empress Divine is flashed by Chovy there. He's going to get the knock-up as well. Permafrost is going to come through, but Canyon flashes out of the way. Now Peanut wanting to get the flash with the Winter's Wrath, but Canyon's not going to be going down here. And again, another scuffle, but no kills as Doran wants to change this one. Noguri was not the target he was looking for, but he's going to accept it, at least for now, and Chovy gets his second.
Chovy's cancel there on that CC chain. Beautifully done. Noguri tries to use the defensive ultimate from the Gragas. Very strong against the Camille, but he doesn't get the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Just locked down, and then even when he gets the ulti out there, Chovy just uses the Soul Unbound to immune it on the snapback.
Yeah.
Really, really well played here. Gen G coming out on top in that skirmish and taking plates back here in that mid lane.
Gonna cancel Canyon's back here, as that is the decoy version.
Noguri's here. Does have flash, but no cask.
Denies at least that plate. So Damonkia back on the map and still in the lead, as they do have some CS advantages across the board.
And we again see this instinct from Domon, I think very justifiably so, to try and look for plays, try and find anything aggressive as Lahens.
Yeah, Tidal Wave comes through, but there's the final chapter as well. The culling is going to come in. Oh, our buttons are just being pressed here on the bottom side as Peanut will turn up. Does he have one available? He absolutely does. And there it is. It's going to go wide as now Kellen is forced to flash. Bullet time, Ruler. He still had his ulti, but now Canyon's going to turn up. Warrior Trickster to get him forward, gets the flash out of the MF. That is important, but Gen G get another kill.
Yeah, they get another kill there. It is all 4 of the bot lane sums used from Gen G, but they take down Kellen. Had a great sidestep on the ulti there, but just couldn't create enough space, and they are threatening forward here, wanting to see if they can push Ruler off this farm, but aren't going to be able to do it.
And we again see Gen G, so many of these baits. They know Domon want to go in, they know Domon want to look for plays, because in the later stage of the game, in this one, unless you immediately blow up Ruler, like between the Yone, the Camille, the Yumi, it is so incredibly hard to find any opening. But Gen G, read the play, respond carefully, and overall, Damwon is just unable to crucially snowball the lead that they have right now.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be so difficult to actually deal with Chovy later on in the game. When you have a Yuumi strapped on and he goes into the backline, that is going to be so frightening. There are some X factors that we can talk about, but a great sidestep here from Lehens, uses the heal, sidesteps to the side of that, and then Doctom is able to get a good culling down onto Ruler to chunk him down, and that's really what kicks off the fight.
But then the follow-up is, again, Peanut is early to the play. Even though he doesn't hit, his ultimate doesn't end up mattering, force the sums, and Ruler follows up. And then crucially, Canyon doesn't actually have his ultimate here. If he does have it available, possibly they can burst down Ruler, maybe get a knock up on Peanut, and snowball from there, but isn't the case. And I'm glad that you highlighted the Yone. Again, Chovy doesn't even have an item yet. And it's only going to be downhill from here the moment that a 2-item spike is hit. I think for Damwon, I don't see how you're going to be able to actually get big wins unless Gen G hugely overstep.
Well, Canyon going to avoid the Arctic Assault there. It's like ships in the night. The junglers pass each other.
I will say some of the X factors, the fact that it is going to be Moonstone very likely here on Lehens, so there's going to be almost no magic damage here. So an armor stacking Gragas can be somewhat problematic.
True.
That can be pretty strong. You do have the ability to disengage and have fairly good lockdown. Azir as well, really does have some strong scaling. I agree, I favor the Gen G draft, as it gets later in the game, because I think it's going to be tricky to deal with. But that being said, I do think Damwon have some options and have some playmaking of their own.
There is still so much engage power, and as we pointed out, the backline dive that's available for Damwon as well is still very strong. And to me, one of those X factors is also Showmaker on the Azir here. Gone for the crown build, so very strong into the relatively short range, barring the bot side, as long as he can stay away from Ruler and Lehens, should get a lot of value out of that. But is going to mean that the damage from DWG KIA in these fights might not be enough, because I want to highlight again, as you pointed out, it's Moonstone. It's an early Mountain Drake as well for Gen G, and thus far, one of the recurring themes in this game, or in this series rather, to me, has been Damwon tries to kill Gen G and barely doesn't, and then they lose the fight, and then they lose the objective.
I think if you are a Damwon fan, you're hoping that the difference, between last game and this game is the fact that Doctom is in a much better spot, right?
Absolutely.
He was very behind at this point in the game last time around. Doran here in a bit of a bother.
Might have a bit of a fight as Showmaker holds onto the ultimate for now. The Cyclone comes in as now Peanut getting taken down extraordinarily low. Doran, he's just going to get taken off the board. Peanut kept alive by the kitty cat, but it does mean that DWG KIA are able to lock down Shirley.
Really nicely done here from Damwon. Canyon, at first I was wondering, is he being a little bit too greedy going on to Peanut there instead of just securing the kill on Doran? But it turns out they have the exact right read. They kill off Doran, and they push out Peanut, forcing his flash as well, plus they get the Rift Herald. So an opportunity for a pretty big play here. Nuguri will have to play this safe though.
And I think a big problem there was that Doran showed a little bit too early, maybe not quite in line with the rest of his team, because I think they were in a position to contest, but with Doran getting picked up and Peanut basically being forced to go in aggressively, not quite the circumstances that they were looking for, and now DWG KIA get the mid lane turret and get a second charge as well, setting them up for a much better mid game, I think, and a lot more controlled than was the case last time around.
Yeah, we can just see it one more time. Canyon and Peanut scrapping it up. Doran gets spotted here, as he comes out onto Nuguri, looking for that fight, and Nuguri's like, sure, let's take it. Showmaker is a lot closer, and all of a sudden it's just full-on retreat here for Gen G, and as I said, Canyon is just waiting on a Peanut, pushing him out, and the ulti is there. In comes Doctom and Kellen. They have first move from mid lane. There's just not really much of an opportunity for Gen G to contest.
Yep, not a lot of options. Fantastic work there from DWG KIA to allow themselves to have even more momentum on this map. Now moving it towards that 2,000 gold lead that during this World Championship has been a pretty important breakpoint to get to.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty large win rate for that kind of a deficit or advantage.
And it has been, I believe, 95%, or at least going into yesterday, it was a 95% win rate if you were ahead at 2,000 gold at any point in the game through groups and play-ins, which was pretty astronomical.
Yep, T1 Game 2 may have changed that stat just a little bit. However, still going to be very, very high. So, DWG KIA, not out of the woods just yet, but certainly doing much better this time as I say that, Showmaker can have his crown broken.
And not care.
Yeah,
he is.
The turret and everything.
He's happy. The crown is an item that I think, even though it's easy for both Ruler and Lehens to proc, in terms of side lane, I think helps out Showmaker so much playing into something like the Yone with the trading pattern that he has. And overall, this is where I think it's the scariest for Gen G, is maybe they get into Doctom.
Doctom just relentlessly escapes. It's absolutely fine. Peanut still had a pretty good angle there.
Yeah, it does force the Gale Force, so going to be happy about that. You know, gets the Gale Force down. And Showmaker, anytime he has that crown up, you know, really can absorb the engage from Chovy.
Yeah.
But the issue is, of course, it's a 40-second cooldown, and it's a very low cooldown, you know, at this point in the game. You know, on Chovy's Soul Unbound, it's only 13 seconds, so he can go in constantly. You know, you poke that off once, and then you basically have to play safe for a full wave before you can really step up again.
Once again, Canyon getting a little bit excited. Showmaker clearing out the wave where he can. Reset is going to be picked up here, though, so probably not going to have too much action.
And overall, we see Damwon doing the same thing they did in the first game, which is move around as a death squad. Look for people mispositioning, look for someone who maybe isn't in the right place at the right time. Try and catch Genji in the rotation towards the lane. Chovy says, that's fine, I don't care, I'm not going to rotate, I'm just going to teleport towards top side to pick up a juicy wave. And it does want to go for the turret here. We do see Damwon move towards top side, but I don't think Chovy is really in any danger. And with the Drake coming up in 45 seconds, Damwon's got to start stacking those, because it's an LCK game. So we get, after what was a Infernal Rift in the previous game, finally, Atlas, your favorite dragon.
The revenge of the Cloud Soul, hoping that we've got 2 picked up by Genji and then 3 picked up by DWG KIA, so I can maximize the amount of clouds. Hextech, way too much of that. So far this world, it's got a lot of catching up to do. This is a great start.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it feels like for DWG, it's not really the best soul in this one. You know, you're gonna get some value. I apologize. We'll work.
You were the one that was on my side, Azael.
I mean, move speed is highly valuable, but a lot of times when you're looking for the extra power, you know, it is going to be really good on Wukong, right?
Don't try to save it, Azael.
When I see champions like Renekton, when I see champions like Olaf, when I see champions like that, that's when you're actually pretty darn excited to think about getting that Cloud Soul. But you know, move speed always valuable. It's just not going to be one that I think Genji's that concerned about. So if Genji has the read that we win 5v5, you know, later on, if we have to wait for 2 or 3 items, they're just going to be chilling, waiting it out.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm sorry, Atlas. I try to.
It's okay.
No, I agree. The only one that I think have really or relatively high value would be Dokdom and Canyon, but compare that to the raw attack power that you get from, I think, the Infernal Rift in particular. We saw didn't even get close to getting picked up last time around.
Or even Mountain Soul, right? Like if you get something like a Mountain Soul against Yone, as well as this Camille, as they're just pushing very heavily. They really want to force a response because Genji's been playing heavily towards sides. We can see Doran, again, up in that top lane, you know, just pushing out top lane, looking for that tier 2. So you need to now move towards Dragon or get something done here to really respond and force a response from your opponents.
Well, now it's coming through. As you can see, DWG KIA slink off into the Fog of War, looking to clear out some vision here where they can, but the Camille is absolutely fine. Chovy on the bottom side of the map could go for a dragon if he would like to, but instead there is a juicy turret. He wants the money. He'll pick that one up. And it's here once again on the push.
Yeah, it's just starting to feel like DWG don't really have an answer, right? And they're not actually being able to effectively respond to these side lanes. They don't have winning side lanes. They're going for
Blahans! Yeah, Blahans gets caught out. All of those side lane issues do kind of go away. So DWG now just going to start off this Baron immediately from over the wall. Showmaker going to be able to do that. Doran, can he allow Peanut to have the space to get in? As Showmaker off towards the side, Noguri over the wall. He needs to get Peanut out of the pit. This could just be the 50-50. There's a phenomenal bubble. He gets in. Oh, Peanut steals it away. He's not going to escape, but they'll say thanks for the leash and Genji secure Baron.
And it's an absolute disaster for DWG KIA after a really big pickup on the Yuumi. Chovy doesn't have TP. He's not even. Well, Chovy doesn't have TP, so they rush towards Baron. And if they get that, you're in a great position, but instead, they don't get Baron, they don't get Drake. What do you do?
It's the backbreaker there from Genji. It started to feel like DWG just didn't have an answer to the side lanes. There was these heavily pushing side lanes from the Yone and the Camille just dominating that shove. And it felt like DWG are just grouped up looking for a 5v5 that was never going to happen. So they get one pick and they say, all right, we've got the one pick. It's time to go towards Baron. And while DWG decides to try to look and turn and fight, this is actually a brilliant ulti from Ruler that forces the 50-50. Ruler comes in, just drops the ulti, and now it doesn't matter that you're not hitting the Baron. The MF ulti is enough. 939 there. I think that was an auto plus the smite coming through is enough to secure it, and that's just a beautiful play between Peanut and Ruler.
Because you can see that the entirety of DWG knows this as well and drop aggro As Peanut's like,
that's a happy Peanut right
like,
there.
oh yeah.
oh, Lance is like, sorry guys.
Yeah,
It's like
for
from the
saving
death
me.
chamber. Perfect. And Score as well. Score has certainly had a few times in that Baron pit that we prefer not to mention, as there's a shutdown onto Canyon. Chovy picks that one up. That's his third of the game. And that is Gen G now with a gold lead.
It is all going wrong, and when you look at the items, it even gets worse.
Final chapter is invested in as well here, as that's a phenomenal bubble, but not going to be followed up upon. As Damwon Kia now backing away. Ruler, a lot of damage to this turret now as he has those two items put together. Peanut, Arctic Assault, but Nuggery with a very well-placed blast cone. Well, not well-placed, but well-used. And will be able to get himself out. This turret, not long for the world though, and Gen G just starting to stack up this Red Bull Baron power play. Almost 3k now. Hex Tech Ultimatum towards the bottom side. Cask is going to be used to try and get him out of there, as now Doran still underneath this turret. Chovy does lock down the killers. Now Doran's just going to walk it out. Hookshot going to be enough. And Dr. he cannot overextend. The rest of the cavalry has arrived. Flash forward for Canyon, but the Cyclone is flashed out of the way. A phenomenal knockup comes in, and Ruler's going to lock down the kill. The turret not long for the world, as the MF does so much damage. Peanut nails the ult onto Kellen. It does not stop, gentlemen. It's a double kill here for Ruler.
And that might just be game again. Damwon Kia conga line in, and Gen G says, thank you very much. We have Yuumi, we have Bloodthirster, Shield Bow, we have all the sustain that we could possibly be looking for. And at least Damwon Kia hold on to their base, but overall, it's just a disaster for them.
I mean, Gen G's team play has just been incredible. The way they have peeled apart Damwon in this game, despite the better early game, from the Damwon bot lane, despite a lot of things going well for them in the early stages, Chovy and Doran have just been such massive threats in the side lane. They make this one look easy. This is not even a particularly well-coordinated dive here, let's be honest. And Nuggery is very, very tanky, but there's nowhere for him to go, and the response is just slightly too slow from Dr.
And then next up, Canyon tries to maybe get Ruler, but with the flash available, immediate flash, exhaust comes down, Canyon just gets taken down as well. And if Showmaker's there to get Ruler after the flash, then maybe. But I also want to highlight, Showmaker in this game has gone for a very split push / sideline oriented build, has gone for the Nashor's Tooth, which in a 1v1 feels great, but in these type of team fight scenarios, gonna get a lot less value out of that. And here we see Gen G taking over complete control of the game, and if that Baron had gone the other way, we might be looking at a completely different game.
And I mean, I think Showmaker here, with Conqueror, with the Nashers, is hoping he can really punch through those frontliners, but it's so tough with all the threat on him in this 5v5. Yeah, exactly. You don't really have the time to get enough autos out because there's so many members diving into that backline. There's the MF ulti threat as well, and Gen G just feel like they are unleashed on the map. There is nowhere safe to go for Damwon now. They just have to huddle up in their base and hope that they can find some sort of an opening for a great engage.
Yeah, exactly right. You had a look at the gold lead there, very reminiscent of the last game's gold grab, right? Like, there was that time for Damwon Kia, but the Ruler ending that we talk about in Korea is definitely something that happens around the 25-minute mark in their more recent games. It used to be later than that. Now it is coming up much earlier. 23 seconds on this Cloud Drake, as I think Gen G might be able to just lock down the soul point and then push this one forward. And yeah, these numbers, like, this is exactly the two players on this Gen G roster that you never want getting money.
Absolutely. And Yone is a very big spike at 2, but this is not a champion that falls off later on in the game.
No.
This champion scales to infinity. So it is so concerning how strong Chovy is in this game. And you can see Doran already threatening that flank. Was spotted by Showmaker, so maybe there's some sort of an opportunity to look for a pick play. But I think Damwon don't have any confidence to walk in towards the Dragon, so they're just going to try to get mid lane prio, maybe get some vision out around Baron, and hope they can maybe catch Gen G moving up to try to check into them.
Yeah, and Peanut, he can face check. He's so extraordinarily tanky, so Canyon not going to be able to start anything, but Damwon Kia do have them by the short hairs a little as they push up. They should be able to take this inhibitor turret.
I like it. Bounty
they set up this Sun Disc, exactly right. Bounty Gold is going to come through. Teleport to come forward as Peanut over to the side. He can Arctic Assault, but he's going to do that more defensively here as Damwon Kia looking for an inhibitor. Sort of turning the play on Gen G here for a moment.
And what a wonderful move here by Damwon Kia. Get themselves an inhibitor effectively for free. Still need to actually get the exit, but it looks like they will be able to. And even though,
Baron.
well, I mean, even
they're gonna bait. They're gonna bait.
Oh my God. Yeah, there's a blue trinket available for Ruler, though.
Gen G just sort of caught off tempo here a little bit. Damwon Kia do try to attack the Sejuani, though, and that is definitely the target that can survive that. Peanut is going to face check once again, as Canyon not wanting to ulti or anything like that. Still not the target that they want to go into. And I think Peanut was just sort of auto-attacking while he was walking away, and Canyon took more damage than the Sejuani. As yes, there's a large minion wave now breaking the bottom side of their base. Side lanes have been given up on here by Damwon Kia. They did get an inhibitor, though.
I mean, I think it's 100% the correct choice, right? You know, people are going to make fun of you for not playing sides, but they cannot match sides here at all. They've got to find a 5v5. They're going to get outscaled. Got to look for it now. Yeah,
well, there's the Glacial Prison. It's going to slow them up as Unbound Soul pulls Chovy back. A lot of buttons have been pressed on both sides, but Gen G going to be happy about this.
And here you see the core issue that Damwon is running into. It's that Peanut, especially with a Yumi on top of his back, is immovable.
The flank.
Yeah, 100% in he goes. Oh my goodness, Doctom flashing himself out. Doran may have overextended here as Canyon's clone. He's going to get smacked down. Great stopwatch to be used, but it's not enough here for the Camille. Doran goes down, and now Doctom trying to free hit. He gets the ultimate, but he pulls himself back out again, once again with the Soul Unbound. Once again, Doctom going to get engaged on, but the answer is going to be there. Taken down very low, and Ruler is at full health, ladies and gentlemen. This is a huge problem for Damwon Kia, now moving back. They managed to get the pick off onto the Camille, but it's not quite enough, and Chovy, he's splitting once again.
Chovy's healing up. He can look for a threat in here. He should have the Soul Unbound back, and Damwon still got to escape here.
Yep, he's now looking for the blast, going to get himself out of the way. All right, Canyon now trying to escape, but it's the Yumi that locks him down of all people. Showmaker standing his ground, moving forward. A lot of damage here. Locks down Ruler. How the heck does he do it? It's turn it around.
Showmaker turns around the fight, diving in, finishes off Ruler. When it looked like Gen G had it all wrapped up.
Because in these longer fights, that's where the sustain comes in. That's where the Yumi is most powerful. That's where you see Chovy be able to sustain off of a single wave. But they make one misstep, and Damwon at the very least keep himself in the game. Overall game state, I think, still very rough for them, but the fact that they keep themselves alive here, absolutely insane.
It was massive, and I've got, oh my god, again.
All right, well, now we're going to look for Nogari, who is now in the pen. Doesn't necessarily want to be there. Chovy exits. And now Tidal Wave going to be used. Blast Cone was available, so Kellen looks a little bit silly, but if he had have tried to walk his way out instead of using that, it would have been a good move.
And we can see, you know, Nogari is definitely a tanky boy, and Doran just a little bit disjointed. I mean, look at Chovy on the side. He's prepping his Q on the Wolves. There have been a few engages here from Gen G that did look a little bit kind of not really coordinated. And on this one, they got punished massively. Chovy is still not there. Even in the 4v5, it's still close as Chovy finds a massive ult turnaround.
And at this point, it looks like a disaster for Damwon Kia, right? Because they go in immediately, really nicely done, exhaust on Doctom so he doesn't burst down Ruler. We see that in addition to that, Peanut using his flash to keep the Lucian down. You see these health bars, you see Chovy sustaining, you're like, what can they do?
Yeah.
Like how are they going to get out here?
But look at this blast cone. The timing on the blast cone from Showmaker was beautiful. That's one board back to live as it's looking for an engager from Peanut. Nogari is going to have to back it up.
Yep, not going to be able to find the Glacial Prison there as Peanut has thrown a few of them around, but honestly, it's non-committal CC. Doesn't need to worry about it too much as this inhibitor still dead for another 50 seconds, but that should be coming back up pretty soon. For Gen G is Ruler taking a lot of damage. Gonna have to be careful as the ulti comes through from Chovy. Bullet time comes in as well. Not as high value as it could have otherwise been as Chovy gets himself out. His soul rebound once again. As Damwon Kia should be able to deny the soul here.
Yeah, it's going to be their Dragon. Gen G are not able to find the engage there. It only connects on Canyon. The MF ulti not very effective, and they're trying to mark the Baron as well, making sure that Gen G are not rushing it.
They still have bounties, right? They're still getting gold. Damwon have been making these plays while behind in gold, and overall, we see, even with Gen G getting leads in terms of itemization, some of the engages not quite working out, and maybe Gen G getting a little bit nervous because once you make a second, third play and they don't work out, the momentum swing can be absolutely huge.
And we have to remember, despite the fact that Gen G was so dominant this year, you know, it hasn't always been smooth sailing for these players in their careers. You know, Chovy has yet to actually advance past the quarterfinals. Peanut has been a part of many incredible teams that haven't quite lived up to the expectations. And you know, this is something that can really weigh on your minds in these moments. If something starts to go a little bit wrong, you know, you can really feel the pressure in these situations.
So many of these players only very recently claimed their first domestic title. Chovy, Ruler, he became a world champion, and then for years wasn't able to domestically secure it. I know, it's absolutely
insane.
Yeah. And so, Gen G, let's see whether they can hold on to this one. And to your point, Azael, like, it's Gen G versus Damwon Kia. Gen G gapped the entire LCK, but it was always very close against Damwon. Even when Noguri wasn't there, even in spring, it still went the distance.
Even with Hoya and Bertel, two players that had a lot more faults. Noguri, especially once he really got more comfortable within the team, has been very, very successful. Do love this. Goes back to what you were saying earlier, Zil. Draw open the map, avoid these 5v5s, and use your 1v1 and your side laning power.
I mean, they're just not even playing sides at all, right? Like, they've completely given up on side lanes. They're going to group 5. You know, now, as soon as Doran shows bot, they have got to pull back and respond, or they've got to flip Baron, right? So you've got to make your choices. And they decide they're at least going to push out sides again. And then I think it's just right back, rinse and repeat. They push out the sides. They're going to group 5. They're going to try to deny vision, look for picks here. That is the game plan. And for Gen G, it's about establishing enough vision that you know that they can't actually get a major objective, and then slowing down the game so you can draw them apart and really deny that 5v5 death ball that it feels like Damwon is looking for.
Yep, Doran doing a great job here towards the bottom side, making sure that Noguri has to try and answer him in the 1v1. This is the point of the game that Gen G are very strong. Like you were talking about, Canyon facing down Peanut once again, who is extraordinarily tanky, finds the point blank ult, but it's just the clone. Canyon gets himself out. He's absolutely fine with the Warrior Trickster availability. Peanut can probably just rinse and repeat on that particular play, buying space for his team.
But overall, Dokkan goes forward. We do see that Damwon, even though there is still a slight gold lead for Gen G, it's basically become irrelevant. It's all about execution here. So we're getting deeper and deeper into the game, and Gen G just doesn't seem to be able, even with the power that they have, to crucially crack open Damwon Kia.
Yeah, crazy thing as well is Dokdom has an item lead over Ruler right now. He's sitting on 4, Ruler wanting to go for that reset so he can retain parity in the items. Will be able to go back and now has that Infinity Edge complete, has the rapid fire done as well. Still with that broken stopwatch, wants that GA for the final one, but now at least is on the same page outside of his clock being broken.
And I think really what Gen G is waiting for is all of the GAs to come through. They already have one on Chovy, they're building one on Doran. The last item is going to be a GA as well on Ruler, especially when you get it on your divers. When you have double GA for Doran and Chovy, they can throw themselves into that backline with reckless abandon and really create space for Ruler to run over the fight. And I think that is the spike that these guys are waiting for.
There's also no immediate clock on Gen G. Like, they have a very strong scaling comp. Oh, they're going to try and force response from Damwon here.
All right, well, let's just try and kill the base, I guess. They've got so much damage on these structures. Damwon here should be able to move their way over, though. And Chovy, he's going to walk it out. Was a little bit later than the rest of his team. Made us a little bit anxious, but it's going to be okay.
So what happens? They got a turret.
Hey, they got an inhibitor turret. That's huge, Chronicle. I don't know what
you're talking about. Is it Atlas?
Absolutely.
We really went from one of the most chaotic games I've seen to 16 kills at 37 minutes.
Remember,
just the way we like it.
I'm pretty sure Damwon Kia had the longest game in the LCK this year.
They did.
I think it was against Fred at Brion, a
was.
team that did not necessarily perform the best. And Gen G are Gen G. They go without saying when it comes to long games. So now Gen G going to pull off the Baron. It's going to be discovered. The rest of Gen G still in the area. Playing with vision here a little bit, but once again, nothing going to happen.
And Doran did finish his GA, so this is that spike that I was talking about where I think Gen G now will feel more confident to take some risks on the map. You can see, again, it's back to the side lanes. You know, I'm kind of becoming a bit of a broken record, but Damwon have no options to answer it, so now they're just going to say, all right, it's time to flip Baron.
Flip it again!
have to force the flip. Chovy just going to try and walk his way over, but realizes that's not going to get him there soon enough. Glacial Prism with the fade away does a fair bit of work here for Peanut, but they're not wanting to commit to it just yet. This pincer maneuver from Gen G could be terrifying. Canyon still trying to keep himself safe, and they have the phalanx built up. Doran spots out Noguri there with his sweeper available, and they've held on to the Baron. Now it's Gen G in the pit. Can Showmaker make it happen as Chovy gets in, gets immediately out again? Now Peanut trying to protect his carries. Doran hook-shotting. Noguri goes in. There's the body slam. Showmaker. Oh my God! The 3-net Empress Divide. The shutdown to come through as well immediately. Doctom's going to die, and now it's Chovy's turn, but is it going to be enough? Is the question. Doran flashes the double knock-up. Oh no, it's not enough. And now Canyon coming through. Doran still has his, and that is going to be, I believe, the ace now completed for Gen G.
Teleporting towards bots.
Oh my goodness, no, Showmaker is still, Noguri is still alive. And Chovy not going to be able to spot him, so they can't end. Back towards it, gentlemen. It's just a calm LCK versus LCK.
They may not be able to end, but they can get Soul here. Doran is heading there, so is Chovy. It was the GAs that made the difference in that one. They had the double GA. Chovy's able to come back alive. Noguri knows that he's going to be back up, so he can't actually continue the fight. Showmaker very nearly took over the game there. So close to being able to turn that one around, but Doctom was killed off on the other side. The Lucian could not survive the fight.
And you also see that even though Gen G have multiple extremely strong late game damage threats, for Damwon, it's much harder.
Yeah. Let's have a look at it again.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the Yuumi ultimate was used very, very early, and then Doran, again, a little bit disjointed. A great Q from Peanut actually slowed this down, but then the flash in from Showmaker connects on 4. But look at Chovy on the other side. Gets into the back line, deletes the Lucian, and that's really what saved the fight.
Because with Lucian still up, you can win this fight, and you can end the game as DWG KIA as we're fighting yet again.
Yeah, that's Cyclone down now for Canyon. Not entirely sure how that all happened as we're trying to catch up with ourselves here, but I believe no flashes were necessary. As Chovy, Soul's unbound. He's going to be fine. I don't know why I was getting excited, guys.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Calm down, Atlas, please.
Classic Yone thing.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
You're good.
But Chovy, full build.
Oh,
look at the damage, the
God.
battle between these two mid laners, Showmaker and Chovy, trying to be the X factors here. Showmaker still has room to grow, you know, still has that last slot where he could get towards a death cap, but Chovy is full build.
Yeah, and he's also like 90 CS down is Showmaker. This guy has been playing on the back foot all game, but Azir in the late game, definitely. And Showmaker, playmaker, of course, as Kobe dubbed earlier on in the tournament, this guy has been clutch when it counts. And that's why we were so disappointed in game 1, right? But this time, showing up.
Oh, and on the other end, we already highlighted how important the GAs were. Doran still has his, but look at DWG KIA. We see that Canyon building towards one as well.
Yeah.
Doctom currently sitting on one. And with everything that has happened,
Yeah, Baron's still alive.
Like, well, Baron's alive. We might even get a opportunity as
Oh my
God.
Yeah,
That's revolting.
Yeah, that's a very strong unit.
Who cares?
Yeah, we'll just take the leash, I guess, says DWG KIA. Peanut says, I'm here, I'm the jungler. By the way, please stop. And DWG say no. Now Chovy gets the knock up on Noguri, who body slams to get himself out. Chovy now has to get back. Doctom thinks it's his angle to get on in, but the GA that he recently purchased is just going to get smacked down. Now Canyon trying to turn it, but Chovy just hits him. And that is going to be the play. The top side has been taken down. Now Doran trying to dive forward. He's still got the GA. Empress Divide defensive, but not enough as Ruler just says goodbye to Showmaker, and Gen G will claim the ace. The triple kill for the MF, and this should be game 2.
And it might have been so close for so long, but in the end, it is a clean ace for Gen G. An overstep from DWG KIA trying to find an angle. They need to take risks in this later stage of the game, and it doesn't work out.
God. The damage from Showmaker not going to be enough here as Gen G will break open the base. Their composition, fantastic. And now, a celebratory MF ult as the bullet time flies through. The Nexus will go down now. Match point for Gen G.
What a battle, though, between these two teams here.
That man on your screen right there, Showmaker, certainly going to be feeling it at this point in time, but he played so well, especially the later stages.
He absolutely did, and Damwon, you know, really seemed to turn it up once the pressure was on. You know, they were able to really force Gen G's hand in a lot.
Well, for Gen G, DWG KIA trying to get to maximum games against their opposition. They haven't failed to do so far this year. Should be a possibility. And Chronicler, I wanted to talk to you about this particular matchup, Swain versus Azir, because this is something we saw in the LCK a whole lot of times.
We really have, and I think the Swain in particular is a pick that, as Damwon might be looking for a little bit of early aggression, at the very least going to sweep, try and look for warrants, unable to find. Has mainly been a counter to the Azir in the sense that Azir in some matchups, I think the Victor is a really good example, can still have very high offensive pressure when combined with a jungler, especially something like, as, of course, gotta get the chance in. And the Swain, for Damwon specifically, with the style that they've played thus far, I think is a pick that works really well, because we haven't seen it this much throughout the entirety of Worlds, but domestically, it's been very, very strong as, Showmaker.
All right, everyone's going to turn up. Showmaker gets the information pretty quickly.
He's fine.
Yep.
But they're going to steal the red away, right?
Yeah.
You know, we'll see if they can actually do anything about this, though, because Canyon is starting on Raptors, so he's just going to give it up, because he already uses a smite, so for sure he's just going to give it up. He's just going to clear towards topside, I think. But now with Kellen moving over, they're going to be able to push him off, and Peanut sees the Raptors are gone too. So he gets the bad news. He's just going to be starting leashless and about 30 seconds behind.
And they also have to walk over this ward as well, so Kellen and Doctorm.
I think they missed XP.
Yeah, they definitely missed the money.
That's huge.
Yeah, this is actually a phenomenal start here for DWG KIA, although, I mean, that trade didn't exactly go in Doctorm's favor, but he has Severum, so I guess that gives him a sustained advantage, not to mention the fact that Kellen's going to be there to shield him up. But here we go. Prime Gaming, by the way, guys, is giving away 150,000 RP to several lucky fans every single day of Worlds. Head over to primegamingworlds22.com to enter and make sure you put in today's secret code to get bonus entries. Showmaker lands the Never Move pretty nicely there onto Chovy to start things off.
Yeah, nicely done. You know, always when you are playing against these first strike matchups, you've got to be on point with that poke, trying to just chunk it off, you know, as frequently as you can. We'll see if Chovy can get the shove here or not. If he can kind of keep Showmaker pushed under that tower, you know, it is going to be, I think, a lot more difficult for him. But Canyon already hovering here towards mid, but bot lane again.
Yeah, that's a cleanse out already here. Summoner spells traded, though, as Kellen had lit him on fire.
And what's big here is that Lehens isn't level 2 yet, because while Ruler was able to get XP from the first wave, Lehens actually ran into trouble, and there's a reason why Aphelios is seen as such a well-rounded AD carry, because especially with Calibrum and combining with the harassment of Lulu early in the lane, is I think Canyon still got the wolf.
Yeah.
Peanut still only level 2.
Yeah, the Ragdoll Poppy not having the greatest time into the Viego this time. And Canyon just going to be able to take some shellfish.
Look at this.
Yeah, it's looking good for Damwon in the early game.
This could be a double scuttle angle as well. I mean, Peanut's just going down towards bot, but like, where's the gank pressure? He does get level 3 now off the creeps. He leached some XP and hit 3 there, so they may not be expecting this, and they can have the wraparound and the collapse onto Canyon.
Oh, he knows now.
Yeah, the heroic charge is going to be able to get the stun onto Canyon there as well. The smite has to come through just to keep him alive as he dashes. Ruler's going to dash on over, though. Could be a disaster. Vision of Empire flies in, and Canyon, he's like, where the heck do I go? How do I get out of this? The answer is you probably don't, as Peanut's going to throw a buckler at him, and that's first blood.
Man, that was so clever from Gen G. Peanut, realizing he was so close to level 3, just goes down to Tribrush, soaks XP to hit level 3 himself. Without that, you can't actually go for that sort of a play onto Canyon, but Canyon getting aggressive there. He could have taken a free double scuttle and then cleared towards topside, but he wanted to take more camps away from Peanut.
And what happened there was Canyon used a Scryer's Orb, but didn't see Peanut, so he made the call as Doctorm.
Yeah, trying to turn this one on its head. Peanut's going to come through. They have a control orb, but they'd already overstepped. Another buckler comes in. They get the flash out of Doctorm, and now Kellen actually finds some space for himself, so they will be able to keep themselves alive. Skippy available for Kellen, so he should be able to make his way out. G trying to fight back.
That is just massive from Peanut. You know, being able to get the kill, gets the first blood, then down towards bot, where Ruler and Lehens are struggling straight up in that 2v2. It was going great. You know, you push back Doctorm, so they're going to be able to potentially push us in and reset. We'll see if they can actually crash the wave. But Doctorm loses both his summoners there, and now we'll have to play this lane a lot more carefully. Isn't necessarily going to be able to push this up, but Canyon here trying to deny the crash. And if Ruler gets caught here without a buy, when Doctorm arrives, it's going to be difficult.
Oh, they don't have vision. They're going to be looking for this. Doctom isn't there quite yet, but with how far up he knows, there they spot him. Will be figured out here. But still, very good lane state here for DWG at the very least.
Yeah, exactly right. Peanut is going to continue the invade, though, as he heads towards this top side. Should be able to grab himself the enemy blue buff. So Gen G still in a good spot, but as you can see by the gold, not really too much has gone awry. Glad that we haven't looked towards top side, because Sejuani versus Maokai kind of goes without saying there, as Chovy, Vision of Empire, is going to do a bit of damage to him. I think the Azir is probably fine, despite being down 10 CS.
Yeah, going to be feeling not too bad. Showmaker has done a really good job connecting with these never moves. You know, got to give him the credit for that. Already has, I believe it's 8 souls collected there. So, you know, a good amount of bonus health. He was up to, I think, 96 bonus health or so. So looking pretty good in that mid lane matchup.
Also see again, even though Doctom was forced to use the summoners, not going to get taken down there crucially. So is able to build up a CS lead due to the waste that they got Dragon as well. So even though DWG's early game could be way better, considering the fact that Gen G got that first blood after Peanut was able to dodge the Scryer, it's overall still relatively okay for DWG.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Not getting that crash on the bottom side of the map, I think it's just absolutely huge
100%.
here for DWG here. As Noguri takes a turret shot, I believe. No, actually it was just the one last one coming through for the minion, so he's going to be A-okay. As Doran, he may not.
Oh, they have Ignite. If they can actually do this properly here, the Maokai should be dead.
Well, let's see whether they can do it. The Ignite is already down. Twisted Advance has been used, but the ulti to come through, the fade away from Nogger, and he just walks it out. That is a beautiful first blood going over to DWG here.
That was flawless, but Peanut is here, and Noguri could be in trouble. Peanut has flash.
He's trying to get on forward, doesn't have steadfast presence now, as he's just ushering this in where he can. But 2 versus 1, Poppy versus these two. This is dangerous, and he has to flash to get himself out. Does make it out with a phase rush, but that was dangerous.
And that's huge. Even though Poppy uses Hex Flash very well, the offensive pressure that you have around a Herald that is coming up in 30 seconds is huge, and now Dalmon should be able to take that uncontested.
And I'll draw your eyes towards the items, right? This is not a tanky Poppy. It's not a Pommy star here. It's a tier 2 Boots Rush, which is great utility, very common on the tanks, but does mean when you get caught by that stun, the turnaround damage is going to be massive. That dive, though, was masterfully done there. You know, being able to start it off with the Ignite, so Noguri gets the aggro guaranteed, then pulls back, hits him with the passive stun, then the ulti to follow out, all while tanking up the tower there and allowing Canyon free fire.
And you also see the power and why this Sejuani and Viego combination has been denied multiple times within Worlds as well, even though in particular Viego has fallen pretty far down the priority list as far as junglers goes, because the amount of auto resets that you get combined with Sejuani's passive, especially if you add Ignite, is just kind of revolting. And we talked about this bot side, Lucianami not looking too hot, and DWG KIA this time around looks at pressure almost every lane, and as we said, Heralds should be for the taking for them. They started up.
And the pressure really isn't on them in the same way, right? I do think there's great scaling still, you know, especially at the top 3 for Gen G, but, you know, you look at Doctom, he doesn't need to really get anything done. He's chilling. He's staying in his lane. He's farming it up, looking for 3 items here. He's going to be really, really happy. And when you have that Lulu to back you up, it can be such a threat. And I will say, Swain as well from ahead is very difficult, especially when paired with one of these enchanters to actually deal with.
And we actually saw, it was Swain versus Azir. It works for the Swain if you're able to create those early leads. We saw Faker versus Closer was a perfect example of this. The Swain flashing over these Emperor's Divides and just solo winning teamfights. This is a thing that has happened in the LCK so far, and Showmaker already in this lane is doing fantastically well against Chovy, whose laning phase on Azir has always been pretty impressive. This time around, not necessarily having that kind of a performance.
Yeah, hasn't been as dominant thus far, but you can see, you know, the invasion, the push in here for Vision from Gen G. Peanut getting in, trying to track Canyon as much as possible, and they're looking for it.
Yeah, Ruler dashing forward. Doctom going to get the wild growth now, though. He has the crescendum. So much damage here, and the Keeper's Verdict won't land. Still, Peanut gets himself closer to the turret, and he will make it out.
Doctom's Aphelios just hits different, man. Kalin with the peak wild growth as well. We joke about the skill of wild growth as, Showmaker has ultimate. I don't know about this one, Chovy.
Demonic Ascension, there's the flash over the Emperor's Divide is Showmaker. He has the explosion available as well, but he never moved. He pulls him in, and the Swain, feeling inevitable, walks after him, just drains the Azir dry.
And that is exactly why we have faith in in Damwon, when they go a little bit of meta, the amount of power that these laners individually have shown when they get their comfort is just on another level.
And also, this is a Damwon Kia that are down. It's match point for Gen G, and they are making these aggressive plays. Kellen is emote spamming in the bottom lane.
I mean, that backstep from Showmaker was so damn clean. Backstep on Chovy's ultimate there so he doesn't get knocked back. Then the flash in, over the top, hits another never move. The last one he needed to be able to finish it off.
And now Doc Dom has Guild Force. And I've seen enough Doc Doms with PTA and Guild Force to know that for Gen G, playing on the game now is going to become infinitely harder. And we do see, and I agree with you, Zil, and I'm happy that you pointed out earlier, this is also the first time where it doesn't feel like Damwon is very heavily disadvantaged going into the mid to late stage of the game. As long as they keep even, if they pick up an extra Drake, you know, get a small lead, just make sure that Doctum gets to mid to late, they're very happy. Instead, what is happening is they're setting up a lane swap here to funnel more gold into this Aphelios.
Well, this is perfect because you already have the Herald, so you move up towards top. Peanut is here to try to cover a potential dive, but the tower is so low that it would be very difficult for them to actually hold this here. With the Herald getting dropped down, it should be an almost guaranteed first turret going the way of Damwon.
Yep, they have no threat up here as well. There's not a lot of damage between Poppy and the Maokai, so the Rift Herald's going to go down. This turret should be dead. Yeah, Keeper's Verdict could come in to try and deny, but he's not actually going to use it to stop the charge. He wants to try and go for some sort of a fight with this ultimate, but doesn't use it.
Well, I think the reasoning here is Chovy and Ruler weren't moving, so they're never going to be able to delay the charge, you know, to actually stop the charge, I should say.
Yeah, right. It will eventually come in.
Exactly. If one of your carries are moving up, then maybe you can actually get up there and force it, but Noguri on bottom side, Ruler in trouble.
Yeah, just going aggressive here is Noguri on this Sejuani. Still holds on to the Ignite as Ruler looking a little bit scared under this turret, and you can see the Piggy able to move forward. Vision of Empire spots out Ruler and also puts the fear into him as Damwon Kia moving towards that top side. Polymorph onto Doran. The turret will survive on very little health right now.
They're trying to hold it as best as they possibly can. They don't want to give this over pre-14, but it is very, very difficult because you're having Peanut locked in this lane, sharing XP amongst 3 members. Canyon's already back to farming, so now Damwon don't really have to force the issue here because they're getting more on the map. Ruler's being pressured. We saw that Noguri is taking a tower plate down in bot. Canyon's back to farming the jungle.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Here it is one more time.
Need a replay.
Just watch the backstep. That backstep there was beautiful.
And then the fact that, as you point out, Chovy not able to get away, goes for the flash, and then the never move. And Swain went ahead is one of the most frustrating champions to play into, and something we haven't really highlighted that is outside of Azir in the late game, the range that is available for Gen G is fairly limited, right? You have Ruler who kind of needs to dash in, that's risking you of a never move. Doran and Peanut are self-explanatory, and I don't think they're killing Showmaker here.
Well, we'll see whether they can. Showmaker goes golden, buying time for Doctom to get in there. There's the Emperor's Divide, but you can see he doesn't care. He just presses R. He's just going to say, well, everyone, please stand in here. I'll drain all your health bars.
Yeah, Doctom shows up, and that's going to push them back. Canyon at the same time taking the second dragon here. This one is going to be Hextech, which would be really nice for them. The additional slows there are always so good when you are playing Swain. The ability to stay on top of them. Going to be interested to see if Showmaker rushes his Zonias or if he goes for Rylai's. I'm such a fan of Rylai's on Swain. Because the movement speed difference there, being able to actually keep up on top so you can have that perma ulti is so effective.
The best part for Showmaker as well is that he doesn't even need to be a damage threat with an Ignite Sejuani, with Viego, especially with Doctor. Well, yeah, I was going to lead up to that. Max, stop interrupting me. Obviously, that was the big reveal. Unbelievable.
Well, you were going to listen.
I thought I could trust you.
Well, I've done this to you before. How are you not completely aware?
There's the guy that just shows up to the bookstore and just yells, Steve kills Dumbledore.
Yeah, no, that's exactly me. That is exactly
Unbelievable.
You just got to get to your point,
But just when I'm reading. That's the best part.
Yeah, that's true. I actually whisper it in your ear. Everybody else is fine. They have no idea.
Appreciate that. Good looking out for me, at least. Not for him.
Don't worry. I'd always have you back, Isaac. Chronicle it, not so much. But we are going to have the turret falling down here as Noguri secures that one.
So I will say, you know, on the Gen G side, I think a lot of it becomes about the playmaking. We did see the backstep there that was beautiful from Showmaker, but I still think a 0 ult as disengage on the Swain, and especially the Poppy ultimate, is going to be so critical. Because if you can get the Swain to actually commit ult, and then disengage with the Poppy ult, and be able to have that timeout, Swain without ulti is really low power in these late game team fights.
And it's important to highlight as well is that as much as I like the draw from Dublin, and I feel like specifically when Doctum is on Aphelios, the team kind of transforms and warps around how good this player is on this pick. But overall, Dublin have had issues with closing out games, have had issues with actually closing it. And Gen G has proven this year, I think, that when it comes to their mental, they are not the team of eternal second place players that they once were, right? Like we've seen them come back from 10k deficits multiple times throughout the year. And as you point out, I think with Zair, double front line, and Ruler on a carry that has a lot of agency, you can never count out Gen G. But overall, this game does feel very different from the previous two because I don't see a solution for Gen G when DWG KIA just stacks a bunch of Hextech Drakes.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very difficult, right? They can kind of push the issue here, and they have created a near 4,000 gold lead, plus 2 dragons, which are, you know, around about 1,000 gold worth of stats each. And when you're really kind of looking at the totality of that, it is very, very threatening. Going to TP in here towards mid, continue to pressure. Nogri going to look.
Yeah, there it is. Ruler has to cleanse immediately. The Moonlight Vigil goes wide. The Tidal Wave is also going to do the same thing, but buys enough space as Aqua Prison is going to put Shirley in the sky for a moment, but now DWG KIA are going to push forward, and they barely needed the Rift Herald as now the dashes come in. DWG, they want even more here. The culling wipes out the wave, but is it going to be enough? As now Peanut down to 50%. He uses the Herald to get himself out of the fight, but Showmaker's right under the turret. The Demonic Ascension is massive as the pullback. He is never letting anyone move. This Swain is insane. And DWG are still pushing forward. Another never move hits as Peanut, you should have got the message. He doesn't miss on these.
It's never move, and it's never miss. Showmaker is going off. Oh
God, as we say it, he pulls all of Gen G into a game 4, gentlemen.
Who is this guy? Showmaker going off, almost carries the last game, and in game 3, match point for Gen G. It is Showmaker refusing to lose.
And you see that giggle from Lance? That's the, oh, we're going to game 4 giggle right there, because I felt like this game might be still on the cusp of pullback for Gen G, but now Domo needs to make a colossal mistake because with this gold going over Showmaker, Doctum also picked up a bunch of kills, by the way. He's currently sitting on 2-0, and those Drakes are going to be stacked.
I just want to see a highlight reel of all the never moves that he hit this game because it is ridiculous.
He hit all of them in this period of play. It was just only hits.
Yeah, it's just insane. You know, moving in, you know, looking for the fish on here. You know, pulls back Peanut. Peanut is able to get away. Nice charge to the Herald to escape, but then Dorian goes in.
And nothing to me tells the confidence that Domon still has as the fact that Nogari and Callan get swept away and they still move up in a 3 versus 5.
3 in a row.
Yeah, that's 3. And we're just going to have to hold that thought for a moment as now Doctum trying to dash his way out. Peanut is going to taxi himself on Canyon, moves his way out, but in comes Nogari. They're going to secure the Lucian, and now DWG KIA are looking for even more. That may have been the back-breaking play here, as DWG just have Gen G on the ropes. This is the biggest lead that we've seen all series.
And it's understandable because Gen G know they need to go for desperate plays at this point. So they try and pull the trigger on Doctum, seemingly out of position. But if Doctum has red and white guns, he's never out of position. Doesn't happen. And as a result, that's 3 Drakes and a monstrous gold lead for DWG KIA.
And it's back-to-back ults that Nogri is connected on Ruler. Ruler doesn't have his cleanse because of the previous one that was actually nailed on him under the tower. So he forces the cleanse. Next time they fight, he hits another drifting ulti there. But this has just been an absolute amazing showing here from Showmaker as well as Doctum. You know, the carries here stepping up. They're talking about it on the analyst desk. You know, Kobe saying, Chovy and Ruler, the 2 most reliable carries in the world today. Showmaker and Doctum, though, now to be outdone.
Well, yeah, Peanut is a little bit going rogue, but still has Phase Rush, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Poppy can just do what she wants.
It's a good trade, because he does force out the ultimate. Yeah. The downside is, I don't think it really matters, because hold up, teleport.
Ruler's in the ruler position, exactly right. He is going to be able to dash out of that one. There's the flash as well. Didn't have Gale Force available, but Summoner Spell is going to get him to safety.
Yeah, not feeling confident that Cleanse would have done it. You know, he still had the Cleanse available there, but felt he needed to commit the Flash anyway. And if you feel you need to commit the Flash anyway, it's better to use it first instead of using both here. But Damwon now having the pressure on here, if you can get the proper guns onto Dokdom, if you can get White Gun here, you can threaten early Barons. So they have a really good way to push the pace of the game. In 3.5 or so, they're going to be forcing Soul. Gen.G, if you don't want to threaten there, well, you're going to be giving up Soul and then potentially even a Baron.
Not going to flip it this time, though, right here.
Oh, no. Please don't, Damwon. You don't need to. You're in a great spot. You have gold leads. You hit Dokdom is going to hit an IE at what, 24, 25 minutes into the game.
He only just went and bought those components, so he's got a bit of time to get there. But yes, it will be early.
Very, yeah. And they don't even need to really get there because even without that, he is just very, very fed. And overall, if you look at the items, as Nuguri can't hit them all.
He doesn't really wait, does he, on these? But he might be punished. Vision of Empire comes in. That bubble was amazing from Lehens, but he's so tanky. The Nature's Grasp comes through, though. There's the Wild Growth. Nuguri survives for a long time, but now Chovy picks up the kill. The Moonlight Vigil to answer back, but it's not enough to get any kills on the exit. So, just a pick off there for Gen.G, showing signs of life.
And this is exactly what Gen.G has run into in the past, or Damwon rather, as a Canyon.
Yeah, Canyon, he's going to walk it out. It'll be fine, as Nevermove is going to miss for the first time that I've seen this game.
And these are the moments that as a Damwon fan, you're like, oh no, no, calm down, Damwon. Play for the soul. Don't take any risk. You don't need to, because as we have pointed out in the past, at times there have been issues for this team. But in the grand scheme of things, Gen.G get a kill on Nuguri, it's nice, but not going to mean too much for the overall state of the game.
And I mean, you look at the map, there's just no vision in this Dragon area really for Gen.G. It's going to be very difficult to approach. You know, they do have a couple wards. They have this as a potential flanking ward. They have this ward here. You know, they've got a couple kind of shallow wards down, but it feels so hard to actually even get over there, let alone be able to get through the Swain that is going to be clogging up this corridor.
Yeah, Chovy didn't get that memo, Azael. He's now going to have to do some alcove gaming, get himself out of this one. The Demonic Ascension's going to come through. The Emperor's Divide is just going to be stopwatched. Beautiful play once again from Showmaker, who is just owning this mid lane matchup. And, okay, I guess Sejuani just got a kill as well. And now Damwon KIA. What can they get off the back of this? It's a minute and a half on the Hex Straight. Can they get Baron? There's a White Gun there for Dokdom.
The saving grace here is that the kills happen on opposite sides of the map. So, at the very least,
They're going to go Baron.
I mean, Showmaker's ready to get Baron, as you can see. He's already got the Smite equipped.
Double Smite.
Yeah, this will mean that the 50-50, not going to be so much of a 50-50 if Peanut is in the area.
But you have Soul Point in a minute.
Yeah.
So you definitely should not do this. I mean, I want him to, but I want more games more than I want him to, you know, go for a cheeky Baron. As
Lehens was Nami in this game, guys. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, Nuguri has been very good with the ultimate so far this game. You know, has been firing them off constantly, has a lot of CDR, you know, Frozen Heart, you know, has an additional Kindle Gem plus the CDR boots here. So low cooldown and, you know, being very liberal with his ult usage, but has really paid dividends thus far. And Gen.G just aren't really being given the time to slow it down and scale up.
The only saving grace for Gen.G is that Dokdom wasn't actually able to finish out his Infinity Edge. That doesn't make the fight good, as all Peanut.
Yeah, speaking of which, these ults not really missing. Peanut gonna have to flash to get himself out of the way, but that means that they are pushed out yet again. That stun barely going wide. Peanut is going to walk his way through. So, the Baron's still up and available. Damwon KIA with so much control of the map.
And how in the world does Peanut actually get in for an attempted steal now, right? It feels like you kind of just have to give it up. We'll see if Gen.G want to make their final stand, or if they want to try to flip it at the Baron, maybe.
Here's the neat thing. He doesn't. Doesn't happen. There is no conceivable way, as long as Damwon KIA makes sure that Gen.G, as you point out, can't go for the counterplay. But look at this. They're sending Viego. What can you do? Even with Hex Gates, there is no amount of gaming that's going to offset the gold that is currently available. Soul now for Damwon KIA, and no sweep in this quarterfinals, everyone.
Absolutely not. Chovy is just going to get taken down under the enemy turret. That is going to remain alive, and Showmaker will be able to claim the kill. This is it, gentlemen. We are finally going to have a series that isn't just 3 games long. Although, I've said that in the past with these two. and maybe that was the ultimate curse as Damwon KIA looked down the Baron.
No Renekton, no Nidalee. I'm feeling good.
No, I'm very scared. The better we feel, the more likely someone's going to lose their hair. At least this time it's Azael, but still. Damwon, they've started this one up. Peanut is at the back of the pit. Nature's Grasp to come forward. The culling does a fair bit of work here from Ruler, sorry. As there is the ult. The Keeper's Verdict going to get so many out. As he pulls back, Doctormy flashes into the Baron pit, but he's now tanking it up. Showmaker is just massive though. He secures the Baron, and he can now flash on top of Genji. I have a feeling this one's the backbreaker. This one is the game 4 guarantee that Damwon KIA needed.
I think that should do it. Damwon roar to life in this third game here off the back of an amazing Showmaker performance, making his mark on this series.
Just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. This inhibitor will go down, and Damwon KIA, they looked completely unflappable this game. Often, teams will be down 0-2. That would make them play more nervous, more scared. Looks like Damwon KIA were just charging up, but they're going to have to win this last little skirmish. Canyon going down very low, but it's Doctorm that's securing the kills. Chovy goes down first. Lehen's going to come through now, and the Nexus will go down. Here we are, game 4, ladies and gentlemen.
And I want to highlight again, Damwon KIA down match point after a game 2 that looked winnable until the very end. A 40-minute slugfest. Come in, say, okay, we get it. We ban Yuumi. It's fine. We tried working around it. It's not happening.
Another incredible game.
Well, we'll see whether he does as we hop onto the rift here for game 4, ladies and gentlemen. Genji still with match point in their hands. Damwon KIA could bring us to that best-of-1 decider. As Showmaker, Genji, are they predicting that Showmaker's going to go for it? And he is. He's just going to do it a little bit later than he otherwise would. Backs his way up. And
it's a nice read, right? They even had the soldier over in the pit, because that is so common. You actually distort over, you drop the ward there. So he's reading that play, dissuading him from being able to do it. Just nicely done. Small thing from Genji.
Also, again, Peanut going for the control ward start that we've seen come up more and more, especially on these little bit slower junglers. And that Malrang in particular used very efficiently throughout the entirety of group stage.
And I just think it's really smart. Like, it is a small thing, but denying Canyon that info when there is already pressure on him to get something done early becomes that much more difficult, right? Because you don't know exactly where the Sejuani is going to be clearing towards. You are missing that information. We'll see if Showmaker will go in late at all and try to get that ward down. He may look for it. And I do think this is worthwhile. So he does drop a ward at Raptor, so they're likely going to spot the Sejuani clearing up. And that will at least give Canyon the info, though a little bit delayed.
Yeah. And back to laning goes Showmaker, and yeah, here it is, all the information given, so Sejuani will be on the map. Damwon KIA just starting the push off once again here towards the bottom side, but I believe this time the experience advantage not going to be as high here for the Aphelios.
It is worth noting, though, that Damwon didn't leash, right? So they started the 2v2 because they wanted to get pushier, so they want to play for the faster level 2. So that signals to me that they are going to try to play this a little bit aggressively, see if they can get this quick level 2, push Ruler and Lehen's back, and utilize that to try to create some sort of an advantage.
Yep, already starting to push up this lane as we can see. Nuguri and Doran still just fighting it out. Of course, the Gnar having sometimes pretty okay time into the Renekton. I'd say that now, still the case. There's some battling just all over the rift right here. Although bottom lane still pretty healthy. Mid lane, a lot of tussle, 300 health on each side.
And what we see as well is that Canyon actually has not been spotted on that ward. Went from blue to Grom and now towards his red buff. Does have a window. Don't think top lane looks particularly diveable, but maybe he wants to look towards a mid gank, but will get spotted on the ward there, so not really going to amount to too much. And sees that ward come down, knows that he won't be able to find a lot as Doran.
Yeah, crushing his way forward, not wanting to overextend onto Nuguri here. Doesn't have enough information to go for it. As we can see, Canyon going to move in, looking to steal this one away. Not going to be able to do so, but does get the information there that Peanut is in the area.
And the very small thing, but he does force out the smite, so it should be his scuttle if he wants to actually play for this.
Oh!
The wraparound.
Yeah, now Nuguri's going to be able to move on over. There's the flash in, gets the big stun, and also able to get the Colombic. Unbelievable! The double for Canyon and Damwon KIA. They really want those 5 games.
And Canyon needs the early lead. Canyon says, I will will find the early lead as both junglers kind of aware. Maybe the other one is there, maybe they're not. But the moment that Peanut makes his way over Canyon, crucially, look at that ward. He thinks he's safe.
Yeah, and it's actually such
I think Canyon read it.
Canyon.
Yeah.
He had the read, right? I mean, Canyon was skipping so many camps. He was down 2 full camps to actually hang around here for this long. He spotted him doing the gromp. He waits around. He has the read that they're going top because Renekton is so low. It's such a juicy target. And Canyon takes the risk, and look at the stress. You can see, it looked like he was almost like slamming his keyboard there. You know, a little bit of frustration, a little bit of jitters there in the movement from Peanut. And that is a massive play in a game where you had to be ahead.
Yeah, absolutely right. Peanut does do this. He moves his leg up and down if it's in one of those pivotal moments. I do exactly the same thing. Papa Smithy used to be very upset about it. As Lahen's going down to 50% health. Thankfully, we're standing, so not going to have to worry about it for us. But still.
Well, I mean, I'm never bothered by that. I think.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah,
the entire desk moving doesn't bother you.
Well, I mean, it took some getting used to because that does actually happen.
The windows are breaking, things are falling off the shelves.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay,
this is
relax.
So it's more like the entire platform at Low Park just goes like left, right, left, right, left, right.
It's like a ride.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, just, you know, you gotta go with it. As a lands.
And again, it's a nice push here, you know, from Dr. You know, they didn't leash. They have the plan here, so Canyon is put behind on the clear speed, but is able to get towards top side. He gets the double kill. Bot lane, they've already pushed in and got that early shove. They get a play out here, and Kellen is able to actually delay the base there of Lahen, so they will get a preferential reset here if they would like to take it.
And the key thing to me is, again, Drake stacking. Dom and KIA are definitely going to have to put a lot of pressure towards that part of the map. And with the permanent prio that they've been able to generate for themselves so far, expect Doctor and Kellen to go back and then be ready, especially when Showmaker always also finds his way back towards the map. That's a painful
That's a
trade.
pickaxe longsword stuff for Nugger.
Yeah, pickaxe plus PTA early game, that's gonna hurt. So, you know, really investing in the early game, even with the rune choices here. Dom1 clearly recognize, you know, what this game is going to have to be for them to win, right? And they have got to continue pushing the pace. I will say one bit of bad news, though, is Chovy's advantage here in mid lane. He is up at least a full wave, you know, or so after this wave that's crashing gets collected. So Showmaker will be put down a little bit, but we'll see if Canyon can transition his lead around. Because as you said, they need to start taking the dragons. They need to have these points of power that are going to draw Genji into fights earlier than they would like to be.
And to me, that's what Domon has been trying to do. Nuguri gets the crash here, just going to back. Peanut is in the general vicinity, knowing nothing's going to happen. Hey, Renekton with PDA and Dominus, though, at this point, you're not going to kill. You probably end up getting 1v2'd, so as a result, Domon KIA have free reign on the map, are able to get a Drake, set up extremely deep vision in the entirety of the jungle of Genji.
Yep, Showmaker able to move himself forward there, as you can see, pops back to his distortion, so he'll be fine. Like you say, Drake stacking, starting here for Dam1 KIA. Not going to be enough, though, I don't think. They're going to need to keep up the pace, try to find skirmishes.
Yeah, absolutely. They will need to do that. But, you know, 6:30 in, grabbing your first dragon, that feels like one of the earliest ones we've had in the group stage and quarters. People have been taking so many more delayed dragons. We really haven't seen that many Souls or Elder type games. But Dam1 is going to try to push it towards that, right? They're going to try to get, you know, 6:30 first dragon, to come right back, get their second dragon here, you know, around 12 or so, and then look for that about 20-minute soul point where maybe the Jinx and the Azir aren't really looking to fight, but Genji's going to be getting nervous at that point.
Well, Dr. with some low-range guns, Ruler able to just use the Jinx as effectively as we have seen in the past, right? Like, it's outranging the Aphelios that you are doing here by picking the Jinx up, even though things are a little bit different as it used to be.
And what's interesting is that Dogtown in the past himself has also been a fan of this, is that we often saw Aphelios gravitate towards the PTA, so that you basically become an assassin with Guild Force, because your all-in window is a lot stronger than what the Jinx can provide. As Dr. and Kellen, Dr. now going to hit 6, Peanut maybe looking for something. As on the other side of the map, Dam1 KIA, as they should, going to get up, pick up rather an early Herald.
Yep.
This is perfect, you know, just continue pushing that forward. Peanut is spotted out here. That's a brand new ward, so he had to have known, I think, that was actually dropped down there. I think it was on that timing, but still hanging around, you know, looking to perhaps threaten if Dam1 were to get a little bit aggressive. But with Herald taken on top side and this wave potentially crashing, it could be Doran that's in a little bit of pressure here at this point.
Yeah, and Canyon hasn't actually used the Herald just yet. They're just threatening. Because, of course, Doran knows that he's well and truly on the weak side right here. And with that information about Peanut, they can continue to do this without even needing to drop down Shelly.
Well, and I actually really like that because I do think the Herald should go mid when you're up against this Azir. You want to take away this bastion of safety here from Chovy. You don't want Showmaker locked in this lane just farming. This is the last thing you want from your LeBlanc. You want LeBlanc to be moving, to be playing in fog, to be constantly having your opponents really have to come play this scare tactics game where every brush you check, you're scared of LeBlanc.
Especially in the 2v2 where Canyon is already fed, every single skirmish that you take as Gen G has to be win it immediately or you're in deep trouble as Okay.
That is a lot of respect, and he deserves it here as Noguri looking for the solo onto Doran. Gets him underneath his turret, flash for flash. I like the attitude there from Noguri, but I don't know whether he necessarily needed to go in.
Yeah, I mean, I think just overestimating his damage just slightly. When you get that early flash, you could have just taken that win and perhaps called Canyon up to really threaten that dive, but instead he does try to go for it. He goes for it, he gets him low, but then no more abilities available. He knows he won't be able to finish him off under the tower.
Yeah, we also saw Peanut and Canyon spotting one another, so maybe also wanting to respect, because if you do get ganked in that position and the Gnar gets a kill and gets further accelerated, becomes a lot harder to play out. And having a flash in the subsequent Drake fight would be very nice. Now, fortunately for Noguri, I do think that the overall game state is still pretty subpar for Gen G. They have actually fallen considerably far behind, and the second Drake in a minute and a half should be going to Dom 1.
That's going to be really big, and this is also kind of just indicating what type of a game Noguri wants to play to me, as we've seen Lehen's face shack.
Yeah, unfortunately that is not the handshake that he actually wanted. The hostile takeover comes in. It takes a little bit of time, but they do manage to lock down the Lulu. 3 kills now for Dom 1 KIA.
And now you can even go down towards bot and try to threaten more pressure here. He's actually getting Spell Thieves gold, which I really like there. Picking up 60 gold, I believe, with the Spell Thieves, because you do get that passive while it's active.
Yeah, Rift Herald still half the cooldown now for Canyon as he dashes forward onto Peanut.
Peanut's
0 mana.
Mana.
Exactly right. Ruler wants to come on over. He wants to try and defend, but there is just no way. Canyon is massive. Goes untargetable as well. He's going to be able to just boogie his way out on the Sejuani.
This is wonderful for Dom 1. They are really pushing the pace.
And overall, Gen G don't have a response. It's one pick on Lehen's, leads to a lot of the safety from Polymorph being gone. Noguri going to get a little bit of damage, but as you pointed out, with that Blade of the Ruined King, a long trade's always going to be favorable, as Lehen's, yeah, definitely can't die twice, but in of itself, already, like the amount of early game pressure that Dom 1 is generating is very hard to deal with. And Gen G, their one saving grace is obviously how well they skill, but look how far behind Peanut is.
Yeah, and the threat of this Rift Herald was used 3 times before it was actually thrown down. I think that Canyon, I mean, that presence of mind to know that you can just stand near it and make sure that Gen G feel the pressure, absolutely beautiful here.
I'm feeling a little bit worse about my decision not to prioritize Canyon in that draft we did as well, because I was like, no.
Getting better and better.
Canyon has been a
bit
bit
369 Canyon ruler.
It's been a little rough.
Oh dear, that is not what he wanted. Chains are going to connect, but Showmaker is still going to go back.
The flash.
And another Hex Drake will come through.
But as you were talking about, Max, you know, we're seeing Canyon feel so confident to actually go into these fights because he has that early mythic completion, right? He knows that he's such a point of power. When you're comparing the items, just look at the top half of the map, right? Like, that is the big concern. There's just no fight that you want as the Gnar or the Sejuani, and that is why Canyon is just pushing the pace. This is what we saw him do as well in the Kane game. I think he does it better than anyone in the world. When he is playing from an advantage, this guy just feels so oppressive. Like, he is living in your jungle. What are you even supposed to do about this?
Yeah, and we saw the Sejuani look broken, right? When it was when it was paired with the Camille, the Yone. When it's paired with only Mega Gnar, you're not going to be feeling fantastic about getting all of those passives, getting all of those stuns happening in these fights.
And it's something we talked about a lot at the top of the series, and we now have to go back to us. Yeah, that's disgusting. Also, notice who's third, casually, even though he hasn't really done that much in his game, is Dom, because he has actually been able to get a lot of plates. Now dropping to 4th with Showmaker. What I want to highlight is that the Sejuani pick here in this draft doesn't actually work, but they had to pick it away. Because we saw in the previous game what happened when it was given over to Dom 1 KIA. Oh my god.
I don't know what's happened. Showmaker is just turned on at this point. Like, it is just amazing how he's been playing. And even though that was only a little thing, pretty inconsequential, just seeing how well he plays again. Yeah, that is it for Docdom on the Aphelios. Someone here, are they doing it, John? Are we ready to believe in 5 games?
No. You calm down, Atlas.
Not just yet. I mean, there is incredible scaling on Gen G, but they have put themselves in a position where, you know, the game is in their hands, right? You know, they are the ones that are driving here and going to be able to have all of the options that they need to try to close this one out. We'll see if Canyon has a bit of an overstep here, as there are a lot of Gen G people in the area, and he will respect that fact.
Yep, Lehens
or will he?
Just lying in wait. There is the dash forward. The stun's going to come down. He's very fed, remember. Has
Showmaker.
Heartbreaker, has the flash. Here's the Hex Gates as Showmaker comes on over. Peanut is not going to be able to find the blue buff, but is going to be able to keep his life.
Successful heist. No biggie.
Nailed
Go
it.
in, pick up a blue buff, get out. Easy peasy.
And he just had to wait
Look
that
at
little
this.
bit of time, you know, for
Tough
Showmaker
pressure.
to actually take the Hex Gate in. And Nogari is going such an aggressive build as well. He even has CDR boots. I can't remember the last time I saw CDR boots on a Renekton
Oh god,
here.
is he gonna go Prowlers?
Oh, 100%
He
hope
would.
so.
He would.
As
He
the
would.
Glacial
Oh,
Prison's
God.
going to go wide. You can see that Gen G are feeling the pressure here. Of course, they have a comp with a lot of longevity.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how relevant that's going to be if this keeps up. It's a 5,000 gold lead. Something 2,095% win rate, right?
I mean, honestly, if there were a game for Prowler's Scar Renekton, I feel like this would kind of be it.
Oh, yeah, I
Wardranger
agree.
is
100%.
very low value. There's essentially 4 range champions. Yes, there is Meganar. Yeah, okay. But you're not going to really get a lot of good value off that. So, you know, if you feel like you can execute, if he can come in on the flank, sure, you can cleanse the W, but it doesn't help you if you get one shot.
I mean, the W is going to take 2/3 of Ruler's health bar if he
with
does build
PTA.
that item. Like, my god, that's too much.
And the one caveat that I do want to put here is that the last time Damwon Kia got a 10k gold lead and had a Renekton in the game.
Oh, stop.
Oh,
Stop it, you as
Lehens.
Lehens. Going to get burst, but Showmaker is going to be bullied out there. Peanut turns up. Now they're going to get the speed boost. Sejuani coming over. Emperor's Divide does nothing onto Canyon as he Heartbreakers it. And now Showmaker looking for the hands off to the side. The polymorph is good. Canyon's going to get knocked up with the Arctic Assault. Showmaker's taking the Sejuani for a walk, and they do get the shutdown, and it goes to Doran.
Yeah, it goes to Doran. I mean, he TP'd in, so I think he really wanted to be involved there, but really, you would want that onto Chovy, that big shutdown. But Kellen has arrived, and so has Dokdom.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of resources spent by Gen G, so they're going to try to push out through top. Nogari is not being answered. Remember, Doran TP'd away from that top lane, and Dokdom and Kellen could go mid and shove that up too.
Nogari is already sitting on 2k gold.
Yeah.
2k! If he gets this turret, it's going to be even more. Not going to be able to do so, force a response, but this should lead to the soul point being picked up here for...
Okay, so Lehens gets rid of a ward.
Yeah.
Feels safe.
This is the initial play, right? Showmaker going in, getting aggressive onto Lehens. He does have to snap back, but look at how much of a commitment there is from Gen G. Chovy is here. They're even TPing in Doran. It's the whole squad. They say, we got to get this shutdown on Canyon.
And overall, it ends up paying off. Even with Canyon finding the buffer, doesn't end up mattering. Kellen and Dokdom are on their way, but not quite going to be in time, more so due to Canyon being very far forward. But now, maybe this is the moment where Gen G at least deny this soul point, because if they don't...
Oh, Prowler's Claw Renekton, we're getting it.
Let's go! That's what we wanted. This is how the Crocodile is supposed to be played. This is the part of the Crocodile. Yeah, this is the Apex Predator. This is when he's dashing out of the water to try and take you down, not when he's lying on the beach.
They're going to contest. Here comes Chovy. He's TPing in, but Nogari's not
Peanut
here
gets
yet.
the fadeaway, even through the Gale Force, but Dokdom still going to flash his way out. Hostile takeover does land onto a couple of members, but now it has been waited out. The Meganar is there. Doran uses it, but only onto Nogari, as now Kellen's the one off to the side with the handshake that he uses is fantastic. Now, the soul point has been secured, but can Gen G make it out? The Mimic Chains come in. Peanut going to get wild growth, but it's not going to be enough. Nogari, the Prowler, picks up the kill on the Sejuani, and they're not done yet. Canyon, oh, the reset timing, just beautiful. And Chovy takes the polymorph with him, that he is going to be able to get out.
Outside of every series Gen G and Damwon has played, it has gone to the maximum amount of games the entire year. No matter how good Gen G was, no matter how rough Damwon looks, they were always able to do it. And this time around, soul point, devastating gold lead at 18 minutes. And for Gen G, I think you're looking at game number 5.
I mean, everything is in Damwon's favor now. Gen G definitely will have another team fight to try to look towards, but the lead is getting bigger and bigger and bigger here. You can see Doctom, beautiful Gale Force buffered out there. Yes, the Sejuani ult connects, and they do get his flash, so they get the summoners off. But as the Renekton arrives here, it gets very difficult because the early 2 items make it so tough, and that Dragon reset kind of took away their hope.
And you also see the impact that Callum has again on this Renata, right? Like, he buys so much time. And then, obviously, on the chase down, if Genji can't find resets for the Jinx, can't find the early kill, with the gold deficit that they have, they're going to run into deep trouble.
And Kellen, with the speed-ups here, pops the Shurelya's, gets Canyon in. The reset timing there was beautiful from Canyon. It's something we've come to expect. This guy just doesn't often make mistakes on these carry champions. It's Blade of the Rune King done for him as well. 2 items done on both the jungle and top laner for Damwon. They are enormous. Doctom as well, going for a 3-item spike build here, has the LDR, so it's likely an IE third. And he is going to put out so much damage with this kind of build.
Yeah, and you'd already highlighted the gap between the top lane. I mean, it's still an entire completed item ahead for Damwon Kia. We have to, I don't know whether I necessarily need to keep talking about it, but scaling. You know, Genji definitely do have a lot that they can do in the later stages, but I have a feeling now
Atlas,
that Damwon have got over
Atlas,
the top of it.
I don't want to make the crocodile joke, you know, the
scales.
We're not doing it. But I do want to highlight that Damwon Kia are playing this game out very cleanly. As I say that, Noguri...
Yeah, they do manage to get the turret, but can they get the crocodile out alive? He's fighting. Oh my goodness, Peanut not tanky this time around, but Doran is going to just gnar him straight back, and that is the shutdown gold going to Chovy.
Yeah, that's a great shutdown there, and this is the downside when you're playing this sort of build as Renekton. You are a glass cannon, so there are going to be opportunities here for Genji if they can execute flawlessly.
Yeah, I've seen these ones before, but the chompers are good. It's still not probably going to save Peanut. Yep, the handshake's so good. And now the hostile takeover comes in. Lahan's going to be fighting against Doran here, but Canyon is massive. It's a double kill for Showmaker. And yes, you managed to kill Noguri, but he's got teleport. Damwon Kia can get more.
And again, I want to highlight the amount of mechanical prowess being shown by Damwon overall here. Showmaker forcing a response by going in hard, chunking down Ruler. Kellen cancelling out Peanut his dash with his handshake. And surely that's going to be the Baron here.
Yep, Showmaker, you can see he's just guarding this. Super Mega Death Rocket just lands onto Doctom. He says, cool. And they will be able to secure it here. The Purple Worm collected already. 1,500 gold, Damwon Kia. This is massive. I think we're looking at a Game 5, gentlemen. I don't want to say it too early, but it's definitely feeling that way now.
It absolutely is, and it is Damwon on a little bit of an over push here. And you can see, again, you know, Genji are going to look for all of these opportunities. It's a deep TP flank here coming in from Doran, and Noguri does not have the tankiness really here to survive, but it's a lot committed to actually kill off this Renekton. And then the remaining Damwon 3 just hang around in the jungle and set up a trap because there's no vision for Genji in this area.
And the key thing here is that Peanut steps forward, right? Showmaker, maybe Peanut thinks we can catch him out. They might think that Damwon have already moved towards the Baron. But that's not the case. There's a lack of vision, because Damwon, with the lead that they have, can completely choke out anything that Genji can do. And now, 40 seconds, that's going to be Soul Point.
It's going to be so hard for them. And I mean, we are closing in now. Canyon nearly has double the gold of Peanut. You've heard of the Flame Horizon.
Oh,
how about the Canyon Horizon? We'll see if he can get it, because he is nearly 5,000 gold ahead of his opponent.
No, it's absolutely obscene. Canyon is just, from the beginning of this game, honestly from the beginning of last game, has been playing extraordinarily well. Him and Showmaker really turning things on their heads. We illustrated this already at the beginning of the day. It's those two that are the game breakers here for Damwon Kia. Noguri, he can do all sorts of crazy stuff. Often it's fantastic. Sometimes it's a little bit quizzical. But this is the heart and soul of the team. Canyon, Showmaker, and they are right now performing so, so well. And
it has been these two players that have really brought Damwon to the highest heights, to that World Championship title here. You know, they have been that big standout for the LCK over the last couple of years. Genji, it's looking like last chance saloon. We'll see if they can find anything here, but look at Noguri setting up on the flank. Look at Showmaker setting up for the poke as well.
Okay, not going to stay in there, Noguri, not quite brave enough, and I don't blame him. That was a lot of Genji members moving over. So now the fight for the soul is going to begin. Doran, decent Naba, but needs to keep hitting things.
The Crocodile.
Yeah, Noguri on that
double flank.
Looking for the opportunity. Kellen also with a great line for the hostile takeover. Loyalty program is going to come through. The mist is going to come down, and now Gen G, you can feel the fear. It is so dark on this map around this dragon pit. Teleport is going to come in. This one, strange as Canyon, is going to come through. They want the fight. They don't really care about the dragon. Oh my god, the hostile takeover comes in. Tom has already done so much work, and they just obliterate them.
Dom wipes Gen G off the map, and that should do it. We're going to a game number 5.
And that might be the one Hextech for Nexus trade. I don't think that's the one you want to take.
The solo Hextech Drake is going to be the end of Gen G, but not from the series. We at least get some silver scrapes, and we'll see whether the LCK first seed can make it back. But, gentlemen, this series always delivers. These teams, they always deliver. And it was Chronicler that never doubted it. We're going to game 5.
I never doubted the Atlas. They got down to always like easy peasy. Go for the 2 wins in a row. We are going to game number 5.
It is incredible. For the 6th straight time this year, these 2 teams will go the distance in a best-of series. Every single time, though, so far, it has been Gen.
We see a Renekton for Nuggery, Showmaker on Syndra, like...
There's just too much already. Dr. Aphelios doesn't need an introduction after the last couple of games, but here we are onto Summoner's Rift, and as you can see, it is game 5. This is what a lot of us expected would happen after game 2, have to admit, had my doubts.
And I will say, yeah, very much not in the way that we expected to get here,
That's the
right?
big one.
Because Damwon have just looked better and better and better each subsequent game. And you have to think that if Gen G has a rough start to this one, it is going to be really hard just mentally to come back into that game, because it has been all Damwon for back-to-back games. And even in that second one, it very nearly was their game as well.
Yeah, and I really do want to add some credit as well to the coaching staff. Like, just saying, Damwon, play comfort. It's game 5. This is where the nerves really start to play a factor. Well, just play the champion that you have the most muscle memory on.
It's going in again.
Yeah, one more time. Canyon.
It's a red start.
Yeah, just going to steal this one away if he can.
My
I don't
God,
think it's been seen.
Circumventing the ward. He's going to get 2 camps.
This is brilliant. Like, what are these level 1s? This guy is just too damn good.
He has all of these pre-planned as well. Like, he's done this.
And wait, so what he's gonna do, I wonder, is he gonna camp this brush? He's gonna do red and then camp the brush and potentially wait right there for the Sejuani, try to intercept him as Sejuani is coming down towards Krugs. I wonder if he'll do that, or if he'll run straight towards the Krugs himself, because we saw him in this last game, when he was playing the Kayn, he got the invade and he looked for the scrap to farm.
There is also priority in both mid and bot side. Dr. McKellen have the advantage for level 2. Peanut's gonna find out.
Yeah, we'll notice that this one has been taken away. Of course, the vision was taken as Canyon, 50%.
Oh, he's showing.
Yeah, Peanut, he's not going to be able to start this one off. And I was really worried. I was like, how is he supposed to make sure that he's hitting the Sejuani as many times as possible to guarantee Red Kayn? Well, now Peanut is just going to have absolutely no way to farm his jungle, because that's all Canyon wants to be at.
And look at Ruler and Lehens, right? If Kellen and Dr. can get this wave in, Lehens and Ruler can't come. This is so difficult, and Smite is actually available. It's not up for Peanut. Peanut did not have Smite. It just came up now. So Canyon is able to even smite that away, and the harassment continues.
Oh, Canyon going in, but of course.
Going to move on over. Shadow Step gets him over the wall.
And he's completely fine. And now he can clear his entire top half of the jungle. And this has been the game plan for Damwon in every single game. Early prio lanes to enable Canyon. And Canyon is delivering.
I mean, what can you say other than this is what a world championship player looks like, right? This is a world champion caliber jungler here. This guy is playing like he is the best jungler in the world. He is dominating in this series. And when he gets ahead, he feels absolutely unstoppable. How oppressive he has been on Peanut is just remarkable.
Yeah.
Oh, Kellen.
Oh, even that Glitter Lance from Kellen, just amazing. But Evan Flow should be able to help out here towards the bottom side.
And what has been a part of the narrative for Gen G for so long, and not just Gen G, but also all these players that you see on the left half of your screen, is them being unable to cash in, right? Them having so many second places And it was not until this summer that they were finally able to break free from that.
Oh, Kellen in a lot of trouble here towards the bottom side, but Doc gets the double grab at him to answer back still. The Lulu gonna have to be careful, and no summoner spells remain for the Lulu. Also heal invested by Doc as I've seen this movie before, gentlemen, and it doesn't work out very well for the Peanuts.
It doesn't, and this is how the series looked when we go back to spring, right? This is exactly the same type of start. DWG KIA, again, investing very heavily in early game. And for Gen G, if they are able to withstand the amount of mental pressure that are on them, not just as a first seed from the LCK, but as a team that historically has struggled so much with actually performing at the highest level when it matters most.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at a guy like Chovy, and for years and years and years, people believe he is possibly, the best laner in the entire world. He's one of the best mid laners in the entire world, but he just doesn't have the teammates. He just doesn't have the surrounding members to really get further in Worlds, and he's never been able to actually advance to the semifinals as a result. This year, there is no such excuse. It is put up or shut up for these players, and the pressure is absolutely monstrous you have to feel now at this point in the game.
Well, Doran throws his boomerang the wrong direction, and that might indicate that there are certainly some nerves here towards this top side at least.
I do want to highlight, though, this is how the game should go. If you look at these two respective drafts, DWG needs to do this. If they are not able, even with Doctam's Aphelios, I think there's some caveat in the later stages of the game, but into the amount of range and hard engage that Gen G have later on, you will have to respect, you will have to, again, start stacking those Drakes. So for Gen G, as long as they don't give up too much gold, don't give up a lot of kills like happened the last time around, they should be able to find angles back into this game.
I mean, there's definitely going to be angles, but I will say, this is nowhere close to the scaling advantage that they had in, for example, the Azir Lulu Jinx game, right? I do think you're looking at Victor versus Syndra and you're saying, yep, you got the late game there. You're maybe comparing something like Sejuani and Kayn and saying, okay, potentially there as well. But the thing is, when you're this far ahead as Canyon, the scaling doesn't really factor into it that much. So I don't think that Gen G get a free pass just to play for late. I think that they have got to be competitive in the early stages too, because this is a composition that can just run over you. And when you're looking at Lulu Aphelios, you heavily favor the scaling that they have compared to this Lucian Nami. So, really, it might be a slight edge to Gen G, but I feel like it's kind of a wash.
Yeah, one thing I do want to say is that Doran on this in times in the past has found so many of these clutch plays. In the last game, absolutely didn't, but a lot of the plays that made us really realize that Doran is a top caliber player were on this able to find those moments. We'll see whether he can here in game number 5, because if he does, that's when Gen G fans truly realize that this is a player to be relied upon. It's Canyon. He's just continuing to be a menace.
Of course. And to me, the deciding factor in this game has been Gen G has been unable to win any skirmish. It's always been the team fights, the 5v5, sure, but they need to get to that stage. And DWG is making it so hard for him as Canyon, at the very least, looking to farm some orbs. Look at him, just outside of vision range.
Yeah, he knows the ward is there, but he's just waiting to see if Gen G's bot lane overcommits, he'll go for them, but otherwise, he just takes the red on respawn, right? Like, he is just living in his opponent's jungle. He is always there on respawn. Peanut's gonna get the bad news. I mean, what can he do about it? He can't win the 1v1, and he can't even really walk the dangerous way because he knows that Canyon could be there, and it's gonna be another red buff going that way. I will say, though, Canyon has not been able to scrap with Peanut as much as he would want. In the previous game, we saw a 10-minute transform. It does not feel like he's anywhere close to that sort of a pace, because he was not only hitting Peanut a lot in that game, he was also hitting the top lane a lot. So he was farming so many of those orbs.
And it's really interesting, especially for Kayn versus Sejuani, where as Kayn, you want melee champions, and so does Sejuani. But neither of them have them, as Canyon.
Yeah, Blades Reach is going to come through, but just base Kayn not exactly going to be doing what he wants to do, especially in comparison to Rast form that he could potentially have, and he just wants to keep hitting Peanut as often as he can. Peanut's going to stick around down here, though, foregoing a lot of his jungle to see whether he can defend this bottom side as Chovy rotating over. Ward goes down, vision available, Scatter the Weak avoided by Chovy somehow, and the gravity field comes in here. Canyon just wearing the Chaos Storm, and Chovy answering beautifully in mid.
Yeah, doing a great job, but Nogri, I believe, maybe already even started the Herald. Looked like he was over in that pit. Perhaps just clearing out a ward. No,
taking it for a walk.
The Herald. That's nice. Shelly spends a lot of time in that pit.
Well, exactly.
She deserves
it's not healthy. You need to get out and move.
And it's been 5 games,
And often they just leave it there. And yeah, pick it up that way. So, Waller just going to throw the culling at them. Tidal Wave comes in, it's going to interrupt Up-Dump. Wild Growth comes through, can he answer back? My God, the Moonlight Vigil's so good, but Ruler able to get himself out. And I thought that was the catch Gen G needed.
When will we stop giving Dr. Mefalios? This just keeps happening.
I think it might be semi-finals, I don't know.
Unbelievable, as we're scrapping.
Well, Umbral Trespass is going to come through. Peanut just going to bring Canyon as far away as possible. The flash going to come through. That is a fantastic Glacial Prison as Peanut has to now flash away. Showmaker doing a fair bit of work here as he threw the ultimate through. As the Eye of the Herald is going to come over and the flash has to come out. That is Herald going over to Gen G, some much needed momentum.
And that's pivotal. Canyon had to smite early there to make sure that he didn't die. And as a result, a little bit disjointed. This is a really, really big win for Gen G because it buys them so much time.
Absolutely, and as much as it has been an impressive amount of pressure from Canyon, at the end of the day, what is the advantage? You know, it's 400 gold. The Renekton didn't actually have Prio there critically up in the top lane. It was the Gnar coming down first. Renekton could not get there, so as you say, Canyon doesn't have this early transform. He's pressured off, has to early smite. They lose the Herald. They lose Flash off of both Canyon and Showmaker. Flash recently lost as well on Noguri. And you start to realize, hey, Gen G, I think, are going to be pretty happy about their positioning in this game.
Yep. And it's game 5, and you can see Doran using Cube's skin as well. Cube, of course, was very well known for being pretty good in those game 5s, especially in the regional gauntlet. So a bit of a shout out there. We don't see a lot of using former teammate skins.
Yeah.
So I like the shout out there from Doran, who does do it almost every time he plays now.
And overall, the amount of pressure that Dumlin was able to generate in the very early game, I think would have really snowballed if they had gotten that Herald. But now, Gen G is on a, at least, I think, if you're in much better pace. We do see the early Merc threats being picked up by Chovy. And if they can pick up an early Drake, as Kellen needs to be careful.
Well, I mean, it's also worth checking out on the fact no Drakes have been taken, right? You know, we look back to the previous game where it was like, all right, they really have to snowball. Well, they took a 630 Drake. I don't think the pressure is on in the same way to snowball in this game as we had talked about in that previous one. But we are 11:30 into the game. They didn't get the first Herald. They haven't taken any dragons. And when Herald gets dropped here, you know, by Chovy, he can actually get solo plate gold, which is very nice for the Victor and a rare situation for a mid laner to have. Plus, that's going to just even out all of the difference in the gold lead, right? Like, that is the difference right now is these couple plates that he's going to get.
Yep, Gale Force now completed here as well for Docdom, which is very, very important. But I do want to, head towards this mid lane and talk about Chovy, the fact that he has been actually falling behind in lane over the last couple of games compared to Showmaker. This time around, though, basically free lane, 10 CS up right now on the Victor, who is generally very, very stable. Of course, 2 limited mobility laners in that mid lane, so it should just be a trade, but Chovy seems back to his old ways as Canyon and Doran just saying hi to each other, but the Shadow Step should allow Canyon to get one over, as now Noguri just going to be alongside Canyon, zoning Doran away.
I actually really like what Doran tried to do there, knowing that his team is playing on the bottom half of the map and try to take away camps to deny them to Canyon. Not going to be the case. Canyon is there in time. Chovy, as you were saying earlier, Azil, picks himself up the early solo plate gold. And Doran is actually doing a really good job here, I think, of denying a even bigger snowball. Does give up a plate or two, but you can't stay near to it anyway because you would get dove. And Chovy also bullying out this Kane out of his jungle.
Yeah, now the gravity field going to come through here as Canyon should at least be able to try and pressure this one out. Chaos Storm has been invested and Peanut from Fog of War not going to find it, but still a lot of damage. Canyon secures the blue buff, not entirely sure whether that was worth, but it's still going to be first blood going over to Gen G.
Yeah, the only explanation I have there is Canyon thought he was dead to rights and decides he's going to get XP and a little bit of gold before he goes down. He had no flash, and I believe his E was on cooldown, so definitely a huge first blood going the other way, and Showmaker now no flash either.
Yeah, Blahens is surfing down as well. Aqua Prison not quite going to find it, but still, this is Gen G coming alive in game 5. Chovy secures the second one.
And especially on a pick like Victor that scales and snowballs so well, if he picks up a couple of early assists, helps him towards those evolutions. Gen G looking revitalized here in game number 5.
There's the null. The Wallop has to be flashed. Boulders flying through, but there are minions in the way, so Noguri's going to survive for now. You can hear New York coming alive
in favor of Gen G right now, but Damwon not out of it just yet. I mean, it's like, what?
It's barely
600 gold?
It starts to feel like all eggs in the Dokdom basket, though.
Hey.
Things not looking that good.
That's where the eggs belong, Azael. That is where they belong.
To put them.
I mean, Noguri, losing out of that 1v1 very heavily against, it was literally parts of a Phage and Tabby's when he already had the board completed. Showmaker, dies there. The kills goes to Chovy. Chovy also got solo plate gold, so Chovy is over 1,000 now, 1,200 gold ahead in that 1v1.
Oh, Peanut coming down, looking for Dokdom. Winter's Wrath is good as Canyon is going to move in. He detected a melee champion on the Rift, and immediately he's there. But Peanut's going to back away, and Canyon remaining patient as they get the shove towards this outer turret bottom lane.
And considering the history of these two teams and how much they have fought, how hard fought every single game has been, the sidesteps on these bubbles from Callan, absolutely impeccable. But these two teams know each other so well, and I think it shows in so many of the plays that we're seeing around the map. As push comes to shove though, Dokdom says, thank you very much for the first turret bot. Solo gold going over to this Aphelios, and even though I don't think the front line is nearly as good, and Noguri clearly going for the Prowler Skull build again. With a Lulu, I've seen Dokdom pull up crazier moves.
Yeah, I have a lot of concerns about what the contribution from Canyon is going to be in this game, though.
Yeah.
He is very far down where he wants to be now. Yes, he still has to have a farm advantage, but he's actually down on gold to the Sejuani. He doesn't even have his transform as far as I can see. So it is looking really, really rough. You talk back to last game, he just nonstop got those skirmishes. Peanut has basically just avoided them. He's just refused to give him those fights. And he's the only melee champion on the map, so he can't get the transform.
Yeah, and a lot of the early game we were talking about Peanut, oh, he's playing so scared, this isn't working out. But maybe it's just Peanut recognizing the fact that if Canyon never hits him, it's going to be a much better time for them in the long run. And so that is why he's been playing that way. As I say that, he's just going to walk on over. Canyon brought out of the wall there for a moment.
Come on, Peanut! Atlas is trying to make a point. Yeah. How dare you? What I love, though, is Peanut, when you go back and you watch that Spring 2022 Finals Game 5 VOD, it's Peanut that's like, guys, don't worry, we can do this. The man is getting absolutely demolished.
His ego is not in this game anymore. Well, he just plays for his teammates. As there's the culling, Ruler is going to take Showmaker down to 50% health. And the Syndra is going to have to get out of there. Something has changed in Gen G. You can feel it.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting that confidence back that we saw in those earlier games. They're getting that swagger. Was a lot committed, though. They did TP up Doran. And Noguri stays bot, so we'll at least get the push. There'll be a couple minions denied here. I'll see if Dokdom over the wall can get anything done.
Canyon dashing forward, just wanting to continue denying camps, but Doran pretty happy about this. And Base Kane, not really going to be the threat that he was in game number 1. As Showmaker now just getting enclosed on, had to flash, and knew that he was going to have to burn it, and Damwon here well and truly on the back foot, even though they still have a gold lead.
I mean, it's a tough one. They do have that gold lead here, but it lies to you a little bit, I think, based on the state of the game. They have no dragons. They haven't really been able to push the game forward that much. They are TPing in here to try to prevent a dive, but there's no wave anymore.
Yeah, Noguri's going to go for it here as the gravity field's going to come down. Chovy taking a lot of damage. Yeah, serrated Dirk and Blade of the Ruin King. Noguri does a lot of work there, but still has to invest a fair bit. And Chovy, his flash is now on cooldown. That's definitely good. But this Drake going over to Gen G, their second of the game.
It's still a win, I'd say, for Gen G, because yes, Dokdom gets more gold, but we are already seeing the fact that Gen G is like, okay, we are still maintaining some semblance of control. We're trading 2 Drakes, which means effectively, even if Damwon in the next 5 minutes completely take over the game, Gen G can say, okay, that's fine. We'll just hang back and wait till we hit, for example, a death cap on Chovy, and we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's no ability to actually force them to come fight at these dragons if they don't want to. And we are now 18 minutes in. Canyon, just now I saw the notification in chat, is near to his transform, right? He had a 10-minute completed transform in the last time he actually played this. So, you talk about trying to take over in the next 5 minutes. At the very minimum, you need to get the transform on Kayn before you can really do much of anything. And Kayn from behind is just so useless. Yeah. Kayn from ahead, especially red Kayn, can just become this drain tanking champion that you can't really punch through.
I'm even wondering, because we have seen Kayn's go... Well, exactly. Because,
with Conqueror
and
Drinker.
Well, that's the thing. We've seen both red Kayn, I don't think it's happening.
Yeah.
And as we see...
He's going Black Cleaver.
Yeah, okay, there's no way.
Still hasn't transformed.
No, he doesn't have it yet.
God.
He's
Still
near.
no.
Like, you do get some passive generation or whatever. Like, eventually you
will get there, but
it's going to be 20 minutes or later before he
double
even
the
has
time.
It. Yeah.
Now he's going to shadow step forward. Yeah, exactly right. Peanut going to come forward, and Canyon's like, oh, melee champion. But he's not going to be able to get there. And Gen G just getting so much control. This outer turret, and this is what Ruler loves to do. Just donates the culling right into the bottom lane of Damwon KIA, even though they didn't want it.
And the amount of times we've seen Ruler do this exact move throughout the entirety of summer is insane, right? Like, this is why his Lucian was so highly prioritized by this team, because it helps them so much with taking these mid-game stalemates and turning them into a win for Gen G. As Showmaker...
Oh, Peanut has done it again. The gravity field is there, the Chaos Storm as well. And yeah, you can scatter, but that's not the wake that you're aiming towards.
No, I mean, and Canyon, you know, not able to actually get any sort of pressure here that you would hope against this Sejuani. You would hope that you'd be playing from so far ahead, but it's Peanut really looking strong now in the 5th game, this final game here. And even if the ulti didn't hit, Showmaker's just so far up, you had to think he was dead. He has no flash.
And the amount of times, we've spoken about it already, how many teams Peanut's been on not being able to claim the major prize. And often, he has found himself making ego plays later on. Things like his Lee Sin have definitely been detriments, often in later stages, where Peanut, they're relying on him so much, doesn't actually come through. But this year, it's been very different as
finally.
20 minutes. And Rast is going to be employed. That is a late transformation, but still, it has come on in. But I'm just so proud of Peanut for being able to get right back on the horse here in game number 5. This is maximum pressure. And he's looking great.
And regardless of the outcome, like, these two teams have delivered so much more than I think was respected of both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Damwon, after the summer, has had such an incredible resurgence, bringing Gen G to 5 games, even if it doesn't end up working out in the way that they did, is incredible. And for the flip side on Gen G, to be known as a team that struggles so much with actually following through, maintaining this level of composure, is looking very, very good.
Absolutely, you know, and they do have that pressure on them. You know, Peanut, you talk about his struggles. For him, it's been more international. The man has won LCK titles on 4 different
he's
teams.
very good at that. But once it gets to the maximum pressure, that's when things do fall apart.
Goran. Spotted.
And things are going to be so much down to execution now. You know, Noguri going for this Prowler's Claw build, it is so glass cannon. If you can find that perfect flank, you can really make it happen. But if you cannot, you are just going to be useless.
Oh, another culling to come through, and that is a back massage that they didn't ask for. Still, Ruler going to back away, and this is just the poke Lucian style that he's played all year long.
And we talked about Gen G, or Damwon rather, not getting any Drake, so Gen G can peel off Drake. What if they just take the Drake and they're going to be at like 27 minutes soul point with an Infernal Soul? Because I agree. I think if you look at the item break points, the only one that is remotely strong on the side of Damwon is Noguri, and maybe if we look at the Bloodthirster finish, I think Dokdom can have an impact. But
this is a squishy Renekton, remember? And so Doran, starting to feel himself, can do a lot of work onto Noguri.
And you just look at the vision, right? As I was highlighting, there's really just some very shallow vision. They have nothing kind of across that midpoint here. It's very difficult for Damwon to be able to get their way in, but clearly they want to contest here. They are moving up, and Ruler!
Just dashing forward. Canyon has to try and get himself out, but he is out of this fight completely. Boulder Toss flying forward from the Gnar.
They're going to keep going.
Yeah, they are on this Drake already, and you can see now it's a mini Gnar trying to play bodyguard, but the gravity field's going to be there as well. Chaos Storm going to come through, so many flashes, going to try and get Damwon KIA out, and Noguri is sowing. Oh, the Prowler's Claw, but it is just a Nami, and going 1-for-1 Nami for Renekton, you're probably okay with that if you are Gen G, but it might give Damwon the in. They're not wanting to go for any sort of flip. This 4v4 is something that Gen G want to try and take themselves, given the health bars, but like you say, Dokdom, no Moonlight Vigil now, but he's still dangerous. Meanwhile, on the top side, Showmaker is just soloed out by Doran. He's not done yet, as he's now trying to fight Dokdom, but that could be dangerous to all of its great. And now, Ruler shows up. Gen G should be able to get to the soul point, and it's a double kill outside of it. Oh my god, never mind. Canyon secures the Drake.
That is actually so big, because that should have been Gen G at soul point there. Still, it's moving more and more towards Gen G, and they're going to go for the Baron here. Can he use both his smite charges? Because he used one on the Gromp to heal up, so he has no smite here for a little bit. We'll see if they can get there.
Health bars are low. Showmaker's teleport is alive in 8 seconds. Juicy Canyon making his way over. Will get spotted though.
Oh, and Canyon now in trouble. Does manage to get the Blades reach, and it's doing a lot of work as far as that healing is concerned as well. Doran now with the Nabot charging up. Noguri trying to get on top of Lehens, but there's the Umbral Trespass. The Baron! It's actually peeled away from, but still, Nami once again dead, but Kane's also going to go down. Now no jungler.
Yep, no jungler, but the health bars are too low, and the resets have come through, so they can't actually do it. So you get both sums off Lehens, you kill him, you do trade back Cadian, but you prevent that. And we have to watch here one more time. The culling cooldown was actually so key because this fight was so extended that it did come back up. But you look at the initial play, Noguri going in and just deleting him.
And that's what you have to do when you play this Renekton build, right? You see why it's valued. The problem here, though, is that in the extended fight, we see the range advantage is big, and Dokdam doesn't have IE yet. Used his Moonlight Vigil early on, and Doran, as you pointed out in the past, Atlas has done this, finds it here on Nar as well. But this might end up, if Damwon pull it back, this might be a game. This is a heist.
Peanut didn't even know, I think, until way too late. And Canyon finished. Oh, wait, did he finish it with an auto? Did he not even have his smite?
It was an auto.
Yeah, I think he didn't even have his smite, and Peanut knows, and he's like, no, darn it.
How dare you?
How dare you?
But
one Drake, not exactly going to be the end of the world.
It's still a big win for Gen G.
But I will say, that could be a difference maker because that buys them time, right? Now you have Dokdam inching closer and closer towards IE, and he is going IE third. It's not an LDR build. He already has the BF sword.
Oh dear, Dokdam, he's just going to get 100 to 0 during that CC. Peanut finding the angles after such a sad game 4 to come back and find these opportunities. Amazing work from Peanut. As now Damwon KIA are looking for it onto Doran. We're going to cut the video. We don't want to look at it as Gen G are going to push in on this inhibitor turret. Yeah, he's actually lasting a very long time as the Umbral Trespass comes in. Yeah, exactly right. He's going to have the Mega Gnar available as well. Pushes Canyon away, but Noguri is going to dive on top. But still, look at the amount of space that he's bought. The inhibitor is going to be the trade. What is it? Base for Gnar? You're probably not going to want that.
Oh my God, the chase there, it's such a commitment. I thought Tubu were going to back off, so I thought he would actually get out. They do get the kill, but you're losing your tier 3 plus the mid lane inhibitor there for just the 1 kill onto the Gnar. It even cost them the flash on Canyon, I believe, and now Gen G out of the map here, trying to reclaim all of the vision control around the Baron.
I don't want to lose either of these teams. Can we make it a best of 7? Is that okay? Can we do more?
I'm down.
Yes,
we'll make an executive call.
Can we build a losers bracket right now?
Come on.
Let's just build it right now. You can hold it at my house. I'm okay with it.
We'll go back to Freak's basement just like season 1.
Yes, please,
no problem. We can do that.
Yeah.
As overall, there is so much to be said. Every single time these two teams have faced, it's been incredible. But you know who came out on top?
It was Gen G.
Yeah. Feeling that way.
Yeah, I mean, they are looking like they are in such a good spot. The pressure is on for Damwon. They need to find one of those big plays here. I mean, Chovy is just so monstrously ahead here. A full completed item up on Showmaker. This Syndra is just really not threatening whatsoever. So, you know, if you're trying to craft a way to win the fights, I think it has to be about creating space for Dokdam, finding one of those incredible Inferno Maltas, or Noguri getting into the backline and instantly killing someone like Ruler. It has to be a big target. It can't just be Lehens.
It goes back to the adaptation that both Damwon and Gen G have shown in the best of 5. Because initially, it was Ban Yuumi, as we found out after 2 games.
Yeah.
Shocking turn of events. But then, it was Damwon's early jungle pressures. Oh, Showmaker.
Peanut has just found Showmaker here. Of course, ulting the Sejuani is something you definitely don't want. The ult is going to go wide, but the Permafrost is still going to be there. Doran wrapping around. Canyon will turn up. The Boomerang's good to slow Canyon down, but Scatter the Weak is fantastic, and Gen G going to have to back away.
But I mean, look how unthreatened he is, right? Like, yes, he does trade out his ulti, but he has a lot of CDR, and just kind of walking straight at Showmaker, and this is the problem. It's like, sure, if Showmaker could get a full ulti on Ruler, that wouldn't matter, but barring that, you pop it on Chovy, he's going to Zonia's. You pop it on Peanut or Doran, they don't care. It's so difficult for Showmaker to get towards the targets that he really needs to access unless they can control vision and have their opponents face checking into them. But then you look at the vision, and again, it's so difficult, right? Like, there's 0 wards in this entire side of the map. There's nothing there for them to really be able to kind of create those pockets where they could find a pick.
Well, now Gen G are going to be able to take their first Infernal Drake of the game. That will be Soul Point now, but you can see DWG KIA not actually going to challenge for it. They use this time, right, to try and build up to get that opportunity, and there is the IE from DWG.
Do you believe?
That's if you're a DWG fan, if you're on DWG, you have to, because he is your ticket to the semifinals. I don't think anyone else can get you there. It has to be DWG stepping up in this key moment. I don't think that Canyon or Showmaker can do it from this positioning.
What about serrated Dirk that's just being completed?
Zerilda? Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, Zerilda.
Well, I mean, that's a one-shot waiting to happen if you can get to Ruler, but if it's on Chovy and he gets an early Zonias...
Peanut!
We've seen this play before. He's just going to dive right on top of Kellen. He's an afterthought. Ruler's just going to tap him on the way out. DWG does have some decent long-range guns as Canyon going to be spotted on the flank. And Gen G, yeah, they're going to take the first kill and see if they can take down the jungler. That would mean Baron, and that could mean the game. And Canyon, he's got Shadow Step. Very difficult to catch up, but still. Gen G just going to try and bring him to them, I guess. Could certainly do that by just starting off the Baron.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. Think that, especially with Kellen still down, a lot of the defensive power available for DWG is not there.
Oh, Ruler, look. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Okay, well, Showmaker is now very low on health as Peanut's going to face check, but he can do that. Tidal Wave comes through. DWG looking for his opportunity. Moonlight Vigil is going to find nothing. On the flank is Canyon, but oh my God, the scan of the week. DWG KIA, they found it one more time. Chovy, he goes golden as now Peanut's trying to do it. Can Chovy get there? DWG needs to know he's not going to. And DWG KIA, they may have found their way back in, and they might have just won the series.
And I said he couldn't do it, but I should never have doubted Canyon. The 3-man knockup into the scat of the week, and DWG are back into the game. The Baron will be theirs, and we are witnessing one of the best series we have seen in so long.
As Nuggery just says, I don't care, I don't need Baron buff. And unironically, in this Red Bull Baron power play, that Zerilda's grudge finish is the reason why Peanut goes to, like, what is it, 30, 40% health here. Like, look at this. I can't believe it's Renekton.
It's the Empower W, the burst there, the PTA procs, it amps the damage here, but then watch the top of your screen. It's all about Canyon. As they group up, they come forward. Look at this knockup. He finds positioning. 3-man knockup. Ult into scatter from Showmaker. He hits everyone. 4-man scatter there. I doubted him. I never should have. Canyon and Showmaker make it happen. Items be damned. Game state be damned. These guys are so clutch. It is unreal.
Look at Zephyr's face. You can see Bertle in the back there as well. Just mind-blowing. And I agree, 100%. Because when I saw that Moonlight Vigil go wide, I was like, pack it up, boys.
The range of emotions.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And score.
Oh, I mean, they know what that means. That was a 1K shutdown, by the way, on Chovy. That went into the pocket of Canyon. Not exactly the guy you want to be getting back in the game here. DWG as well now has the last whisper completed. Showmaker's damage. That ulti into scatter, everything connected on everyone. Everyone was so grouped up. They all get knocked up. They all get AoE'd there by Showmaker. That was like the ideal fight. You couldn't have drawn it up better for DWG. It's just unreal that they found the angle.
And it's not over enough.
That's enough, right?
Might not be, right? You know, it's 1 minute here. Gen G just need to collect themselves. Stay calm. You're still playing from a point of power here. You're still a little bit up in gold, but the Baron buff does do a lot to eliminate that, and they will still have it when the Dragon spawns.
And now it's going to be DWG KIA's turn to face check Gen G. As DWG just walking towards Peanut. Not a lot of fear on this man with that full shield built up from his Bloodthirster. Gen G move back towards that Fog of War. 35 seconds on Infernal Soul.
One key thing to note, DWG no flash. That is so massive. if they can find the angle to get in on him. But a lot of the playmakers on the side of Gen G don't have flash either.
They're once again just going in on top of Peanut. He might have just been caught out of position here as Lahens wants to find a heal. The tidal wave, have they overextended? The answer is no, he just gets trespassed. Canyon flashes away and they lose their jungler. That is going to mean no Drake and DWG KIA. They extend it again.
And the key thing here is that Gen G sure is at soul point, but that only buys you time, and if every subsequent fight keeps going the way of DWG KIA, at some point the hesitation, the fear has got to set in, and for Gen G, I don't know what's worse, losing those 2 games or feeling like you're losing control of this one.
I think it has to be this one because
All
they were
of the
playing
above.
from such a point of power. Peanut here, was this a failed Q into the wall? It did look like it. Did he get knocked? Oh, it's the scatter. It interrupts it. The scatter interrupts him going over the wall into the knockup. Again, Showmaker and Canyon, they can't keep getting away with it.
They can't. I can't believe that Showmaker, after the early game where Chovy had looked so good, like,
how?
I don't know, Azale.
He's not human.
I think he is. I'm having a look. He's right there.
He's not human, he's a polar bear. I don't know what you guys are talking about. As now, DWG KIA being able to stack, especially if they get a third or even possibly a fourth with how this game is going. I don't know if it's ever going to end. Infernal Drake is going to give them so much offensive power, and I do think that they might run into issues with things like the Renex and like the Syndra if you don't have burst potential. But right now, they're feeling completely fine.
Look at this though, death cap completed there for Chovy. Ruler now has that GA as well. He's on 4 items. The 2 key carries here on Gen G's side, still having great games and are really picking up those itemization. You know, they're looking really, really good. You look at Showmaker, he's still an entire death cap behind Chovy. So yes, DWG is getting some momentum. Yes, they are playing really well from this point, but if Chovy can have one good team fight on the Victor, that may be all they need to really close this one out.
It's not just Chovy, Ruler as well, as you point out. Like, the amount of defensive itemization for Gen G as a whole is the one thing that DWG somehow need to play around. And it's, as much as I think Doctor or Noguri and Showmaker have been pivotal, it's going to go down to the consistent damage that he's able to do in a fight. Because just the burst, I think with the itemization that Gen G has, will not be enough.
We have to remember the last team fight that they took as well, the Moonlight Vigil went wide.
Yeah.
This is a 4-item Aphelios. If that hits, like, everyone's dead, and it's possibly just game over. And especially from this point in the game, it almost definitely is. This Canyon be able to get out of there, no worries.
I mean, the pressure is just mounting and mounting and mounting. Noguri closing on his GA. It is now complete. That is massive for him because you are just a torpedo on this champion, right? You go in, you try to one-shot someone, and then you die. The GA really allows you to play in such a way that it's very difficult. But you can see Gen G trying to invade, take over the top side jungle here. Are really trying to make it difficult, but Canyon.
Well, Ruler is just going to dash on in. The Umbral Trespass is going to come down as well, and he has to get out early. He is going to do so. Wild Growth, it will keep the Kane alive, but that is a defensive cooldown that they will no longer have. Inner turret goes down. DWG KIA, everyone's alive.
And they didn't have the Renex in there, so Gen G smell a moment of weakness, get themselves a quick turret, and here you also see the advantage in terms of range that they have. If the Victor can just freely poke, Noguri, he's fine. He's a crocodile, makes his way to the water.
And there's a grand total of 0 wards from DWG in that topside jungle. They have nothing, no vision whatsoever. They are getting choked out, and that is where it gets dangerous. They do know with mid prio now, some of Gen G's show, so Canyon moves in, tries to retake that vision control. That is LDR done now, and stopwatch is available for DWG. He also has the flashback. These summoners become so critical in the later stages.
As you said, it's all execution now, right? Like, we're pretty much dead even. Both these teams have like great scaling parts. I know.
He's lying in wait.
He's underneath the water. He is getting closer.
Yep. Nostrils
Nostrils flaring. Absolutely.
You can feel it. It's very, very frightening. And now with the GA, he could possibly get 2 rounds of spells, which I think is way too many. Even one was doing so much damage. As now Canyon looking for Peanut off to the side. Peanut still looking for these angles.
Showmaker has even popped a potion here, you know, knowing that it's potentially going to come down to this one fight. You know, this late in the game, 40 minutes in, the death timers get very, very long. If you have a wave, it could be it.
DWG gonna have to get out of the way of that one. Does do so. Gale Force now on cooldown. Canyon also not taking too much damage here. Noguri still just trying to make sure that he stays in the dark, but all of these death rays from Chovy hurt so much.
And now this could be it. Noguri on the flank wants that opportunity. Doctom not going to be stunned by the gravity field. Still just out of range of it. Gen.G staying. Phalanx complete. Noguri and Canyon off to the side. Ruler thinks he may have spotted the flank here. Does do so. Tight call. It's Blessing. Comes down as well. Another double tap. The Canyon survives. And DWG KIA, they're just going to move over. They want to grab themselves. This Baron is... Oh, Canyon going to get caught out by the Gnar, but it's only one for Doran. That is not enough value. Exactly. Doctom holding onto it, though. The culling up again as well here for Ruler.
That is critical. There's no Mega Gnar for a while now, but Gen.G do have mid-prio. They're going to try to pull Doctom and the rest of the team back towards them. Will Don1 look for a fight here? Canyon has healed up.
If you're going to use an ultimate, though, Doran's ult is the one you want to use, because it's already back.
But the key thing here is Drake is up, Ruler is soloing it, and that might be Infernal Soul here for Gen.G.
Yeah, now Peanut's going to spot Canyon moving out. The rest of Gen.G are going to respect DWG KIA as the flash comes through from Chovy. It should be, as can Canyon do it again? The culling flies down, they want it. Oh! Canyon does it again, but can they win the fight? Is the question. Doran is there with ulti available. Doctom is so scary.
No flash.
But Nami for Renekton. Showmaker also dead. Doctom once again misses the Moonlight Vigil. The fight is won, but how does he get away with this?
Come on!
Canyon is just so insane. The best jungler in the world. There is no shot. He keeps pulling it off. He gets through, he steals it away. That is 3 straight Infernals. This is starting to be a problem. The amount of additional ADAP this late in the game is massive for a Syndra and a Aphelios. He has been such a difference maker, even when set behind.
Starting to be a problem. Did you see what Noguri did to the enemy backline? That's insane.
Oh.
It must be so scary to be a Nami in this game.
Absolutely.
I have to say.
Look. Oh my god.
Oh no, I mean, Peanut just gave him a taxi straight to it.
Yeah.
Peanut walked back towards it while he's in the Umbral Trespass, so he was in the ulti.
Watch this, you think, okay, we proc TA, we're fine, no problem, we're winning the fight. What?
Yeah, I mean, that's some damage there, for sure. Nice side step from Doran, keeps himself alive. But we've got to track again, so what summoners were spent? So Showmaker, Canyon, Noguri, all down their flashes. Chovy down a flash, Lehen's down a flash, Doran down a flash. So Ruler and Doctom critically do still have it. Both mid laners are missing it. You look at the damage done, I mean, it's been all Gen.G, but it's not the way the fights are looking.
Nope. It's what happens in these 5v5s. It's the most pivotal. And even though Chovy and Ruler are so far ahead, a lot of it is incidental. A lot of it is that poke damage. Boomerang coming through one more time here for Doran. And DWG KIA, I think they're looking for their opportunity to find this fight. Doctom, great team fighting guns right now. The extra range, that Calibrum going to be available. Shendam there as well, very, very important. Gen.G just standing behind Peanut.
It's knowing as well, like this is game 5, we're 42 minutes in. If you make one mistake, the game ends.
It's over.
That's it. It's immediately done. But as DWG especially, you don't really have any hard engage. You only have pick.
Look at this
their
ward.
movements.
The ward to the left, Chovy standing on top of it. They are going to sweep it out.
It's also worth noting that Showmaker has been on 3 items for so long, and he has no gold. He's been spending all of his gold on sorcery elixirs because he is feeling that it is all about this next fight.
Every fight is the next fight.
Exactly, but it means that his item progression has completely halted, right? It had been a full death cap advantage for Chovy for a long time.
They're going to turn on to Canyon. Another Umbral Trespass is going to come in as the ulti goes completely wide. The culling into the back of Canyon, though. Wild Growth keeps him up. A lot of cooldowns now have been used, but it's on both sides of the rift.
That might be Baron, but DWG, they don't want to get into space. They immediately rush towards mid. Canyon now going to find a camp, going to be able to heal up.
Yeah, going to go towards that Brambleback now with the red buff available as well. Even more regen as Gen.G slink off towards this Baron. The burst damage probably not there. DWG smelling blood in the water. Doran just going to walk his way out Dead Man's Plate. That extra movement speed, very important.
Taking the red was so critical because Canyon didn't have an extra smite charge, so he couldn't actually spend the smite to heal up. So he takes the red buff there to get that regen in, but he doesn't have the ulti and they have no vision. They are choked out.
Oh dear, Canyon gonna have to dash away.
Running.
It is a little bit, the Reaping Slash is not a lot of distance, but he still gets out.
No side
of the
lane.
week, just barely. Yeah, side lanes don't exist.
Everyone in mid.
Stop talking about those, Chronicler. This is the K-Ram. That's where we exist now. 5,000 gold, the lead for Gen.G, but it is so irrelevant. And now, Gen.G going to try and burst this down. It is so late in the game, this Baron should just be gone. We can see already down at 5,000 Canyon. If you do it again. Oh my, okay. This time Peanut secures the
objective. Canyon now fighting towards this backside. Peanut back towards the rest of his teammates. Gen G still needing to get out. Another Umbral Trespass is going to come in. The ulti brilliant from Peanut this time as Canyon gets another double knock-up. But it is not the 3-man, and it doesn't have the follow-up.
Go in.
Doctum still has ultimate available. They don't quite know where he is now, they do. And now Nogari on the in the back line. Peanut trying to get him out. Scatter the Weak connects. And there's the Moonlight Vigil immediately. Chovy goes gold, and Doran gonna do the same thing now. It's, oh my god! Chovy gets rid of Canyon, but the answer is still there, Doctum. Brawler, can he do it? Yes, he can! Brawler turns it on its head. Oh my god! Quadra kill! And Ruler will get past the quarters. He will take Chovy with him. And Gen G have done it.
Ruler takes over the game! The quadra kill! In the moment where it matters most! He dashes in, he knocks down Doctum, and he is sending Gen G to the World Championship semi-finals!
Ruler broke the 2K kill record in the LCK. It took him 5 years to get an LCK title. And here he is. Look at the smiles. Gen G, they get it done.
Look at Peanut, the absolute elation. And Doran just bouncing up and down. This is a Gen G that have realized they've conquered what has been their biggest enemy in the past.
It could not have been closer. That final fight was down to the tiniest differences. The smallest things changed this game completely here. Chovy Zonia's, as we saw Doctum flying in there, he flashes in, trying to one-shot this Victor. The Zonia's there, denying so much of that burst, that even when Chovy falls, Ruler finds his moment. He finds the smallest opening to dash in on this Lucian that could be so easily punished if you miss that. It just takes over the game.
Look at Ruler's face. He knows, I mean, he was the one that did it in those last few moments. But I just want to say, everyone that was on stage today was an absolute superstar. This series, absolutely unbelievable. And I think even Damwon, even though this was not a victory, they still need to walk out of here with their heads held high.
This was a team where throughout the split, we weren't sure whether they were going to be representative for the LCK at Worlds. We were talking about KT, Liv Sandbox, even DRX was somehow in the conversation, and they made it as well. And Damwon KIA going from that team to going this far is nothing short of incredible.
I mean, you think back to some of the incredible historic series we have seen here in New York. You think back to the World Semifinals in 2016. Last time it was in North America. Ruler was here in New York, as was Peanut. He was part of the legendary Rocks SKT semifinals that many people point to as one of, if not the greatest series of all time. And I feel like we were treated to something equally special here today. A series that really delivered on the highest level, that had it all, from pocket picks to incredible team fights to back and forth series, comebacks. It really had everything.
The end of that game, I had absolutely no idea.
I didn't know what was happening. No,
Nope.
No clue.
And Canyon on the cane.